Mute the phone.
Friends, if you're looking for real old school laughs, you're in for a treat because we've got them right here. Flip City Magazine. Remember Mad Magazine? Then it went woke? Well, don't worry. Flip City has no chance of going woke. That's right. 4 times a year, you'll get an actual printed magazine full of jokes, stories, comics, and more, all about today's pop culture, entertainment, and woke politics. Flip City takes terrible entertainment trends we love to hate with hilarious parodies of Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Hunters, and more. Trust me when I say there is nothing else like Flip City on the market. So subscribe today. It will be delivered in print, or you can even get it digitally if you're one of those wacky Zoomers. Either way, follow our link and sign up today, and if you put in midnight, you get an extra 10% off. Check out Flip City Magazine today. It's Friday, kids. That's right. We're back again. Welcome to Midnight's Edge in the morning. I am Tom Connors. We have the boss man with us. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. Greetings. Looking forward to discussing the most recent and the biggest news of the week with you all.
Yeah, it's been a week. A lot of schools are getting out today. Some more graduations still going on in some parts of the world. So congratulations to any of those who are celebrating that, and I'm sorry to those who now have to deal with children home all summer. I know this isn't a common practice throughout the world, but in most places in the U.S., it's still a thing. It's summer vacation, time for the kids to let loose. So yeah, and it's also the official kickoff, even though we've had a few already. It keeps getting earlier and earlier all the time. But normally this would technically, or last weekend technically, would have been the kickoff of the summer movie season. So we'll talk a little bit about some summer movies here as we get moving along, or at least one. And we also have a new Star Wars show, as we said. And we have a Paul Chato coming in from Canada.
Yep.
Loud and clear via satellite.
That's my brand new ribbon mic I'm trying out. I love ribbon mics, but they're expensive.
Yeah. Do you have Skylink?
Yes. Those of you out there, I did not buy the Neumann $5,000 ribbon mic, just so you know.
Well,
yes, I am a wealthy YouTube star, but I don't have that kind of money. I had a great golf game, by the way, everyone, yesterday. Just want you to know.
You're not rich, but you're talking about golf. Okay, no.
You don't have to be golf. You don't have to be rich to play golf.
I can't afford that crap.
It depends on the course.
Oh, ask Mikey. You got to be bougie.
You know, I mean, wow. There's the company expense courses where you have to pay $40,000 a year just to remain a member. And
there's that shit too,
yeah, and then you've got to have a meal in their facility at least once a month, or they're going to charge you for it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not part of that crowd.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, I asked you had internet from Skylink, the Elon Musk internet stuff.
Oh, that
via satellite.
No, you know what? I think people had recommended that I keep sending in pleas to unsuspend me, but
get unsuspended.
I did 2, and you know what? I'm just not interested in.
I can't believe they still haven't let you go. That was dumb.
Well, it's their
what kind of pull does this queerdo have? I don't understand.
Technically, if you read the rules, I broke the rules. But what he said,
so did he.
What he said also broke the rules.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
it's selective rule breaking. But again, I'm not going to cry about the fact that I transgressed the unwritten law. So but whatever it was, I was caught speeding, and I don't care. The only thing I really miss about it is connecting with all you guys on.
It's so much more convenient than having to email you and stuff.
Yeah, it is really convenient. And YouTube does not have a chat function. They used to for years. But then they dropped that. And then the other thing too is I love putting my jokes on there. Like to me, that was my favorite thing. Was I come up with a joke, I'll test it there, and then I get a reaction. But
I love seeing you smack around a bunch of the pro-Palestine people, though.
Well,
too.
it's just such a cesspool, and the thing is too, you know, there are already other people that are espousing the same views that I am, but just not so brilliantly. It's X's loss. What can I say?
And not so funnily. So yeah, big loss for all.
Well, I was jokingly asking about Skylink because I heard a story yesterday about how I guess Elon Musk set up Skylink for some tribe that had like no human contact really.
Starlink.
Yeah. Is that what did I say?
You said Skylink. I thought that was going to be
I was thinking of Skynet for a second there. That's why. That's my fault. But anyway, Starlink. Yeah, I said it right the first 10 times. I don't know what I did there. But anyway, so I guess he set it up for this group, and at first everything went well, but now they're all addicted to porn. This is not even a joke. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, this is an actual thing.
Yeah, no, I can believe that. I can believe that.
The RV version of it is spectacular. I mean, you can imagine when you're traveling around in an RV, the two things that you never get is good Wi-Fi connections at any of the places. It's all bullshit, and you don't get cell in a lot of places either. Right. And I've tried Starlink, and it's spectacular. It's really good.
I guess it's saved already like 30-40 lives for them because it actually, you know, gets them in connection with not only, you know, authorities and you know, services, but it also helps them with just minor everyday things that they can learn to find out. Like they said, that part helped. Like a lot of the kids are learning stuff, and you know, it's helping with that. But then now also they've got a lot of men and people in the group that are addicted to porn, and it's becoming an issue. And
that's funny.
A little physical and stuff too. That's the other problem, I guess.
Well, you know, what they say to.
But this is a group of people who have never even seen the outside world. You know, never really had been in contact with other cultures before, and now they're all of a sudden on them, and the first thing that happens is they get addicted to porn.
You know, if they are able to get over this, they're going to cut contact with civilization and have horror stories about it ever since.
Yeah.
If the elders have anything to say about it eventually, yeah. Like, we need to cut this crap out.
A lot of my comedy, I mean, you guys haven't read a lot of the stuff I've done in the past, but one of my key things that always comes to my mind is that everything good that humans do always turns to shit. Like, it always. Like,
or porn.
Well, I know, isn't porn kind of a dangerous thing that people should not be indulging in? Well, no one should be overdoing anything.
Everything in moderation.
Correct. There you go. That's the term. Everything in moderation.
I mean, literally. Even water. You have too much water, it's going to kill you too.
True.
So, yeah, everything in moderation.
I'm sure there's a Norwegian porn industry.
It keeps on getting out-competed by the Swedish.
All the Germans are pretty good at it too, I hear.
Yeah.
All these fit people going at it.
So Swedish porn, that was kind of like that was a thing in Europe in the 60s, 70s, 80s and stuff. That was a brand all of itself.
We are going to fuck.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, no, but we had much more restrictive conservative rules in Norway at that time, whereas the Swedes were much more open than us. So yeah. Of course, you will find plenty Norwegian porn if you look for it, but the Swedes have that brand cornered.
There's enough Canadian porn here where both the couples are always wearing furs to not get cold.
Oh Jesus! So it's like borderline furry porn. I figured Canadian porn was just really polite.
It's like watching two bears fuck. I mean,
I just figured it would be like, I'm going to undress you now, eh? Is that okay?
Hey, is it okay? You're undressing me with your eyes already. Stop it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is how you know it's Friday. So yeah.
Watch Trailer Park Boys if you want.
We got some super chats. Let's see what you guys are talking about out there before the show.
Friday.
Packing Protons is already sending in $5 and says supposedly there's a Disney hack out there that possibly includes Disney Plus information that could include viewing data. Well, this is the first time hearing about this, but if there's a hack and we get some information, that's always fun.
I have to look into this. This is news to me. I've been too busy prepping a couple of other videos, so I haven't learned anything about the Disney.
If I had to guess,
fairly deep state.
Packing protons, if they're going after something like this, that's probably most likely going after financial information, and it's probably one of those kind of hacks. Unless,
Oh, I see.
that's what I would think. I could be wrong. I mean, if somebody went after him, if somebody went after him like they did with Sony, that's a whole nother ball game, and we get a bunch of dumps of information. That'd be great. But like, if this is people's financial information, then I got to call my kid and some other people and tell them to cancel their Disney Plus or change their credit card.
Well, of course, I mean, this is the same thing that happens to the Sony and PlayStation Network all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So without having done any research, that would also be my default suspicion that it's that. I mean, if it's an email hack, I mean, we should be so lucky.
Yeah, I'm fingers crossed it's that, but if I had to guess, it's probably people just trying to.
We're not that lucky.
Info. We'll find out.
Maybe hackers trying to get in on Disney and shut down the broadcast of the Acolyte. I think that's what they're trying.
That would be hilarious.
So altruistic criminals.
It is so bad. I've now watched it. I've watched the second episode. We're going to get into the Acolyte.
Yeah, we'll get into it in due time.
We'll get into it.
Yeah. I've done a deep dive.
And then Packing Proton sends in another 5, so that's 10 right off the bat.
You are
packing in the pro chats. Yeah. It says also Jay Rizzullo is Jay Rizzullo still part of iHeart? Their stations went off the air for a bit 2 days ago, and people suspecting a hack there as well. Well, this is the first I'm hearing about this Packing Proton, so I'm going to have to look into this. And that's what makes me wonder. See, if they're attacking two completely, is there a connection there? Otherwise, it looks like it probably is they're going after financial info, because that's another subscription service, right? iHeartRadio. Or is that
no? Well, iHeartRadio is the former. What was it? Not Comcast.
Yeah, I was going to say
that's what's its name. Yeah, it's radio stations.
Yeah. Is it free or do you have to pay for it? I don't know.
There's an iHeart app, but then there's also the stations.
But if they're free, then that's weird. So if it's like an organized attack for a reason, then it has nothing to do with financial situation stuff or whatever.
Well, we have to look into it. I mean, we have
no idea.
But as sometimes happens in live streams, people ask us questions about matters we have not yet had the time to research. This would be one of those. So we have to look into it before we can comment in any further detail here. Because
they're saying it's free for the most part. So that's maybe if it's part of the same hack, Andre, that might be good news for us. Maybe somebody got pissed off about something on.
Well, if it's both of them, then I should imagine it's actually a data server that has.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah,
and it affects multiple, including the two of those. That would be my first one. If you have like two separate ones, because that means that it's whatever they have in common. That is what has been hacked.
Yeah, it is a subscription service, but last I knew, I think it was free because it just has a bunch of. Yeah, it was like pre-Spotify. It just had a bunch of radio stations that broadcast to it, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyhow, well, we'll have to look into that, and thank you for the heads up. We got Legarine, I think is how you say that. Legarine. Both are probably wrong, but caution, zombies are ahead, and they have been a member for 32 months. Thank you for that.
Awesome. Yeah.
Thunderstorm is here and says, my Disney pitch, two hot lesbians fall in love, one rebel, the other imperial, and scissor their planes together to save the galaxy from Dr. Nouveau. Huh?
Yeah. Kennedy approves.
Sold. From Dr. Nouveau, Vin Diesel.
We had a sketch once where two guys were like pretending on stage to be looking at porn, going, hey, you want to see some two girls going at each other? Yeah, I love it. Two girls, hot. And like they're looking at, one guy picks up the VHS box and goes, hey, wait, those two women, they're really lesbians. Oh, turn it off. Not that it would make any difference now, but I mean, back then that was a hilarious bit.
Oh, I get it. Because we can't make fun of that stuff now. No. But it's like the old joke in Chasing Amy. There's a road there's a $100 bill at the center of 4 roads. At the end of each road, you have Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, a sweet, cute lesbian, and a man hating dyke. Who's going to get to the $100 bill first? the man-hating dyke, because the rest of them are a figment of your imagination.
Yep, that's a good joke.
Yeah, so anyway, yeah. Dr. Longdongler sends in a super sticker. I bet you that's a thumbs up to remind us to pound that thumbs up. Thank you
Same
very
red.
much.
I've got the same red and
Oh, that
same
is.
sticker.
Yeah. Is that your Bucky's cup?
That's my Bucky's cup. Yep.
I
Bucky's.
still got to get to one of those.
Oh,
I've heard they're fun.
it
Cal
is.
Miles says She-Hulk, Barbie, the Acolyte is proof that modern day women are a lost cause. Don't care about them anymore.
I have to push back a little bit. Modern day women didn't watch any of those. We have more data showing
Barbie
that.
they did. Barbie
Yeah.
they did. That's the one I will.
Well, Barbie, yes, but for all the others, women actually didn't watch them.
And I still will maintain, as far as the movie goes, the main problem with the movie is just how it ends. Like, that's the biggest problem. It was like, they just didn't stick the landing, and I think they just didn't know where they were going with it. But now that's actually, now that you hear about bringing up Barbie, did you hear Warner Brothers is going forward with a sequel with or without its star and director? I don't know if you know.
Of course they're going to try.
Of course they are. That doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
Well, I hope they actually do what the initial rumors were, and that was it's Ken. Like they were just going to do a Ken movie with Gosling. I think that would be their best route at this point. But
yeah, if they're doing it without the star, then yeah, that would be the logical course of action. But we'll see what they.
Ken can go find himself, and I think he'd be right at home in He-Man world. Dark King sends in 5 Australia. This Star Wars activist has the character called OSHA, as in bureaucratic health and safety. Yes, maybe her sister has a point in wanting to kill her. Well, they do have a third sister named FEMA. I stole that joke. I admit it.
Yeah. I'm glad you fessed up to that, Tom.
FEMA, that's like the nuclear thing, isn't it?
No. FEMA is the
flood abatement people.
The ones that fucked all that shit up. Yeah.
The big flood. Maybe a box coming.
I think those are the same people. They're like the ones that deal with nuclear stuff. But in the past times, since there's generally so little nuclear stuff, they deal with floodings and stuff like that.
Yeah, they screwed that whole response up to that whole flood down in down south a couple of years back. PETA is the other name of the sister. That could be too. There's 4 of them. Yeah, that'd be funny. And then we got DS40, who's been a member for 31 months. Thank you. And we got Hyper Guyver 2, who says golf. Jeez, just take up archery if you like losing crap. Yeah, it's probably well, I don't know what's cheaper, golf balls or arrows. Golf balls are probably cheaper. You can probably buy a set of 20 golf balls for $5. An arrow is not that cheap. Marksman 117B sends in $1.99 and says Disney hacked over Club Penguin. Mad Game. Oh, so Mad Gamers. That makes sense. Yeah. What are they going to leak out though? What did they hack? I guess that's the question. So we'll have to follow up with that. Tomb of Dracula has become a member. Thank you for that, Tomb of Dracula. A face I remember from the chat quite often. Action Com, who sends in 5, says if they make him Mad Max movie without Mad Max, they can make Barbie movie without Barbie, right? It's only fair play. I would love to see how the women react to that if they just get a Ken movie. Week 13 is here and sends in £4.99, right? Is that how I say that? I can't remember. I'm not British. Yes, I don't know.
Yes.
In the Acolyte, they keep referring to a dream shared by the Jedi, how they are going to kill it. They're referring to the American dream. Oh. Are you sure they're not talking about Star Wars? Yeah. But we're going to get into that in just a few minutes because these guys have seen the Acolyte.
Yep. By the way, that was my son's racing seats that he's now putting into his 2005 Legacy GT Turbo Coupe. So
nice.
That's why I had to leave you. I'm sorry.
You're excited now.
My son's excited. I just texted him and he was like thrilled. So he's got racing seats.
I think that's a decent excuse.
Oh yeah. Like he's ratcheted the car up to something from 240 horsepower to 300 horsepower to the wheels. The thing is insane. That's what you have for a 25-year-old crazy person.
We all have our little little things that keeps us
It's
going.
nice to be passionate when you're young, you know? Isn't that that's a really important part of one's life.
Tis indeed. Tis indeed. Yeah, one
Yeah.
has to have a passion.
I
Absolutely.
totally agree. And
Well, for
hopefully
now,
you never lose it.
let's move on with the super chats.
Yeah,
before we
Packing
go to-
Croton gives us some info on the hack. I guess Clownfish also did a video on it. Yes, that was it. The Club Penguin was the main thing, but Clownfish says they got lots of other data, not just a CP stuff. 2 gigabytes worth, I think. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I've been reading about it a little bit in the background since we've been hearing about this. It's like hackers breached into Disney servers and uploaded 137 PDFs containing old Club Penguin data. So this is a weird hack where someone actually uploaded older data. So I have that time to review stuff, but
Club Penguin was a Canadian company out in BC.
Yeah.
And they were doing children's animations for computers. It was hugely popular for a period of time. Flash animated content. Remember that stuff, guys?
Vaguely, but here's the more interesting bit. However, I'm reading right now from Data Economy. It says, however, as Bleeding Computer delved deeper into the Disney Club Penguin hack, it became apparent that the Club Penguin data was just a small part of a much larger breach. Yeah, I knew it. The hackers had inadvertently accessed and downloaded 2.5 gigabytes of internal corporate data from Disney's Confluence server, which stores documentation for various business, software, and IT projects. Now it's Confluence, so is Disney's email set up with Confluence? That I do not know. And it says here, this data included Disney's corporate strategies, advertising plans, internal developer tools, business projects, and infrastructure details. Far beyond what the hackers actually sought. But so then they actually do have some interesting data. Not emails, because that would be the most interesting data, but I would not mind looking at the corporate strategies and advertising plans. I would be very
I don't know if you can buy a boat out of this, but you might be able to buy a little canoe.
Well, that depends on if it leaked or not. Like, it has leaked to someone. It hasn't been made available to us and the public yet. But if it is, I'm going to have so much fun with their business plans.
Yeah.
I'd love to see what they have to say for themselves.
Hopefully it's something good. And hopefully it's not people's financial data.
Well, I mean, on the other hand, we don't want hackers hacking into anything.
No, but
I will say it is fair game at this point in time. If corporations have not encrypted their content, then they're idiots, right? They deserve the hack.
If hackers hack a video game to upload some files into it, and they in the process are able to access Disney's Confluence server, I mean, at that point I lose sympathy.
Right. But that's not the way they would go about it.
And
usually,
again,
these hacks are usual social engineering hacks. They will send an email to someone saying, I don't have my email account. I'm Bill somebody or other. Can you just update my account? Most hacks are not the brilliant hacks that they portray in
no, and that's what I said earlier. If it's just something for financial data or something,
I'm talking about how they get in.
Right? No, I know. Well, yeah, it's always some kind of
social engineering. Generally, it's not some kid in the basement going, if I just change this code, then I'm going to be able to do this.
No, and I'm not surprised it's gamers, and the fact that they left something behind, I think, tells you exactly what they're up to, right? Like, what they wanted. Like, they're upset, and they must have changed something in this game, so they're trying to convert the game back to what it was, or whatever is what I can gather.
Well, I don't think they're going to care about Penguin Club.
No, but they did it on purpose for a reason.
Have bigger things to worry about.
No, not Disney, but the fans were pissed off about something. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, probably. I agree with Tom. Yeah,
that's what I mean. Is they pissed them off somehow, and I mean, I don't have all the details in front of me.
And then
so I see this as more of a as a like a retaliation than an attack just to get financial information or something like that. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's starting to sound like that now.
Yeah, the dark web is filled with all sorts of tools that you can just download and then say, okay, I'm going to point it at this URL, and then the tools will find out the vulnerabilities of the people that you're going after. It's all pretty automated these days.
Right. Well, we'll have to wait and see what comes of it. That's
Not
interesting.
that midnight.
Even
edge after
hacking
that
is
thing.
taken over by AI. It's like, whoa.
Adam Wolford sends in 5 and says, I guess Midnight's Edge next big hit. I see Tom getting a new house and Andre building a castle he always wanted since he was a kid. This would be nice, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, first we have to get a hold of this business data, but that'd be pretty sweet.
It would, if it's all full of DEI stuff, which I'd imagine it is. That is going to be brilliant.
That's why I want.
Yeah. And then MOOSE spells Moose sends in $5, says, work too damn hard this week. Well, glad it's Friday. And he says, glad I have y'all to cap my Friday. Also, F gay woke Star Wars. Yeah, Star Wars is more like it. Well, we'll get to that in just a moment. But now that we're caught up on Super Chats.
The Pride special.
Yeah, the Pride special. Let's get into the box office real quick, because as there was a movie that dropped yesterday, as I brought up and teased, the summer movie season has been officially kicked off, I guess you could say, although it technically kicked off a few weeks ago. We probably have what we could consider our possible first hit of the season. Although I went to see it and there was nobody in the theater but me and 2 other lonely dudes. Looks like other people got out to see Bad Boys Ride or Die last night, making it $5.9 million in its preview opening, setting it up for a roughly $60 million weekend, which is not too bad. And it's right actually in line with the last film. So I guess the big question is answered up front. How much did the slap cost him? About $0.5 million. So like $500,000, I guess. I don't know.
I hope Lawrence slaps him in the movie just for a gag.
I was telling Andre about this before you got in here. It has kind of been out there. Yes, there is a scene. There is I'm not going to spoil any of it.
No.
There is a scene that does play into the slap, and it does big time, and it should pay off for most people.
And this is what happens when you live with a comedy writer.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is with this one's probably one of the most funniest of the 4.
Oh, great.
Now, is it the best of the 4? No. So that's like my brief synopsis of it. I thought it was hilarious. Martin steals the show in this one, as he usually does.
He looks like he's going for it.
And he's having a lot of fun in this movie. You could tell. And Will is doing a lot of this is definitely an apology tour kind of movie for Will, without getting too deep into it. It humanizes him quite a bit. Very much so. But it also humanizes him in a lot of ways compared to the first 3 films.
Okay.
But the basic story, if you haven't seen the preview, is pretty simple. The boys find out that their former captain, who was killed in the last film, is being accused of all sorts of nefarious, dirty dealings with the cartel. And it actually ties back in with the second film. So that's kind of neat how they do that. But I won't want to say too much more than that, because I thought the movie was fun. I thought it was all right. It's a good, fun summer movie, especially if you like the Lethal Weapon movies. They've definitely got to that point in these films here where it's more about the relationships, the family dynamics, the friends, and all that kind of stuff.
Which is great. Which is what you want.
Yeah, it is slap, boys. I think people are going to appreciate the scene. I really do. It was kind of funny. But yeah, no, Martin really steals the show in this. My only real complaint about the movie is they recast Teresa Randall as Martin's wife, and I didn't understand why, but I did a little research, and I guess she's not in the best of health right now, and been eluding Hollywood for a few years. So I guess that's the answer. So yeah, other than that, though, I guess I can recommend it. I mean, I don't know how much it's going to affect people going in with the whole Will Smith thing. I see a few people in the chat, and that's understandable.
Well, at this point, I would think that it's a positive curiosity if they handle it well.
I mean, look, if you like the last one, especially because it's the same directors as the last one, might even be the same writer. or writers. I don't know. I didn't check that part, but I mean, it's definitely in the vein of that. If you enjoyed part 3, which I thought part 3 was kind of getting it back to more of its roots, this feels more in line. Because to me, part 2 was fun, but it was a Michael Bay movie. Like, it has every Michael Bay-ism in it. Because there was almost 10 years between the first film, which was Michael Bay's first big hit, to that one, which he'd done a bunch of the Transformers and all that stuff. So, like, the second film doesn't even feel like it's in the same universe. And then the directors who did actually the Batgirl movie and worked on the Marvels or whatever, they actually directed the last one, and it was the most successful film of 2020, mainly because of the lockdowns. But I was talking to Andre before the show, before you got here, and I said, even that year, with what we knew that was coming out, Sonic might have been the only movie that probably gave it a run, would have given it a run for its money, unless Top Gun would have come out that year had things not shut down. You know what I mean? So I guess there's still some interest in the film. I was surprised that my theater was empty, considering a bunch of other people were showing me their theaters were not full, but fairly full. So yeah, and so I'm going to be talking about it later on tonight with Paulie and some other people who checked it out. So if you want to hear more about my thoughts, tune into that. I guess that's
today will be the big harbinger, right? Friday.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it actually goes, but
yeah, $6 million for a Thursday is not bad.
Well, the reason I bring that up is because, you know, a lot of people have been arguing that all the theaters are dead. Theaters are dead. That's why nobody went to see Furiosa. But I don't think that's so much the case, and especially in the demographics that I've been sending Andre. Because it seems to me that the men went to see Furiosa. It's just they lost the entire female audience, basically.
Exactly. I mean,
turns out they lost a lot more than I thought.
As usual, in all their attempts to diversify the audience by diversifying the movies, it has failed completely. Because the ones that refuse to show up are the very women they're catering to. Increasingly so.
And this movie won't have those problems, I don't think. Outside of the women that may have lost interest in Will because of the slap.
Well, I mean, and in Furiosa, they didn't get enough, as a percentage, was highly male, but they didn't get enough of them either.
That's what I'm saying. Because they had a 60-40 split for Fury Road, which is actually really damn good for an action
but it's
film.
not more women wouldn't have helped it per se.
No, well, that's they were looking at is, okay, we got a 60-40 split. Maybe we can get more women in here, I think is what they were thinking. And what they did is have the opposite effect. They lost, like, what was it, 60% of the female audience now, Andre, leaving
80%.
80 now. See, the number keeps going up. Like I said, we keep finding more demographics.
Yeah, but
it started at 30. Yeah.
You can live off of just a male audience. Look at Crocodile Dundee. I go back to that all the time.
Absolutely, you could, but their plan, exactly as Tom was saying, was like, okay, we already have the male audience, now we're going to make this female-centric, so we keep the men, but bring in the women too. And the opposite happened. They lost the women that they had, and they lost the men they had too. And if anything, they lost more of the women they already had.
That was my point. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, that's...
Yeah. I mean, really, I mean, there could be an argument there that a good majority of the men that were at the last film might have went to see this movie. I mean, but you still had a percentage that dipped out. I was in that percentage. There was a few other people I know that just had zero interest in seeing this.
If they want to save the theaters, they've got to reduce the prices down to $5 to $6 a ticket.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because Tarantino is out talking about this again, and we actually talked about it the other night on Midnight's Edge After Dark.
He phoned me. No, I had no idea. No, that they've got to lower the tickets.
Well, and I brought up the debate about what because a few directors, I think Tarantino included, had brought up this idea about, you know, what if we have different priced for different type of films? And there's a lot of people who are resistant to it, but I'm like, you're already doing that. But I don't think people are realizing that. Because think about it for a minute. Whenever you go to a movie theater, are you going to go see Sound of Freedom in an IMAX in 3D? No. You're going to see it in a regular, typical theater. They're not going to put it in any big screen. You're going to pay the regular price for it. But now, Bad Boys, on the other hand, I went to see that in a DLX theater with Dolby Atmos. Right? So that's the premium price ticket. They're already getting more out of me for me going into that theater in the premium theater seat, or if I go to see it in an IMAX or something like that, than if I were to go see it in a regular theater. So we're already at that point. Because look at Dune is a great example of this. How many people were like, yeah, I want to go see Dune 2, but I'm waiting to go see it in IMAX and it's still full up till next week. I heard that from multiple people.
Sure. Yeah, it made its money through IMAX.
So I don't know if this is necessarily a bad idea to start this. And I think it would actually help smaller films in the end. Because then I think there'd be more incentive for theaters to carry some of these other smaller films in their other theaters instead of wasting the space on, 3 more theaters full of Garfield.
Can't be an event to the point where you actually have to save up your money to go to the movies. It's got to be something, a spur of the moment, thing that you want to do, and you want to get back into the habit of going to a movie every Friday or something like that, or at least 2 a month. The only way they're going to do that is by reducing ticket prices.
Yeah, that's part of it. But I mean, well,
because you're also competing with your the streaming in your home theater.
That's the thing. And
that's
especially
the problem. So $5, yeah, of course I'm going to drive down, get some popcorn, and then I'm going to watch it. But this is getting insane. $12 plus for a movie.
Well, yeah, and then they add convenience fees to everything too. And this is brought up. Because even when you go into the theater now, they'll add that convenience fee, and it's like, that is BS. Shouldn't be that way, but they do. And there's all these little things they tack on and everything. So, yeah, I mean, I can understand why people don't want to, especially families. But also on the other end of it, I'm reminded all the time that how much more expensive it is to do anything else, right? To go to a sporting event, to go to a concert. Shit, just to go see Adele. They said the average will cost you anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 just for the shit seats.
Right.
So
but now we've gotten into the stratosphere with that kind of stuff. The point is that theaters are now competing with home theaters, and it can't be that much worse. Because I can make shitty popcorn at home if I want.
Well, the only reason they're competing, and this is the thing, it's the studio's fault.
Oh, of course.
The theater's got to say something sooner or later, because what's doing it is what you just said. And that beyond the stupid shit that we talk about every day here, the main problem they're having is this idea that we're going to bring a movie to streaming within 30 to 45 days of when it comes out in the theater. Most people are used to that now. So why didn't they go see Fall Guy? They weren't too sure about it. So they're just going to wait now for it to come out on streaming, which they did.
They weren't sure.
They weren't sure. And you're right, Paul. What it costs to take 2 people to the theater is exactly what it costs to buy that thing on video on demand when it comes out. Even cheaper in some cases.
Well, you know what? The theaters would be better off taking a small loss by lowering the tickets than a giant loss by having no one coming. The other thing too is, and I've mentioned this before, they need to get people back into the habit of going to the theater. The only way to do that is to lower the ticket prices. That is more important than anything else than having, you don't want an empty theater. It was so much fun to go see Oppenheimer and seeing the split between the Barbies and the Oppenheimer gang, because the theater was just packed with people. Like, when was the last time you've seen that? That was fun. That in of itself was fun.
Yeah, we don't have that experience as much anymore. You're right about that. And as far as like this whole thing goes with the streaming business, it's not helping them in any way, shape, or form. And I don't understand why they didn't look. I get there. I knew they weren't going to learn any good lessons from Godzilla -1, but I was hoping one lesson they would learn was that, if we kind of make this thing a little more scarce and not as available right away, it will create a demand for it. So look how popular it was when finally people were like, holy crap, we got Godzilla. And they didn't even really do a big announcement about it. They just dropped it. They didn't even give us any real notice. And it was there. And it's like, holy crap. And all these people got all excited about it. And it bumped it up to #1 on Netflix. I bet you it's going to come out next week that it's the #1 sales on video on demand. Probably top 2 sales because of the black and white version. Because they're selling them separately. So like, to me, I'm like, Toho is doing it right. They waited 6 months till after the movie came out to drop it on streaming. They should have put it on video first, but hey.
I think the 6-month wait was, I think partly because they couldn't get the English dub done in time. I think
that was what I had heard too, that's why it's not on disc yet, and why because they had to, because like streaming services and all that. Yeah.
It's dubbed on Netflix.
Yes, yeah, and it's quicker to get it out on Netflix than it is to produce a bunch of discs.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Cost you nothing.
And not only that, what kind of payday did they get from Netflix? Netflix probably paid them, even if they paid them $30-40 million, that's still 4 times what they spent on it.
Oh yeah, no, I think Netflix saw the success of that the moment, because they also have a very good Japanese connection, right? The moment they saw the success of that, I'm sure they phoned.
And I think Toho is actually
Toho and said, "Give me that."
Releasing this on their own in the US, which would be one of the firsts too, because they used other companies to release Shin Godzilla and some of their other stuff before, but I didn't see any other logos or anything else to where I'm like, okay, they must be doing this one all on their own. So that means they're pocketing the money, which is good for them.
Well, the
But anyway,
solution seems to be to make something that people actually want to watch.
yeah. And then the real Holtzinator says with $4.99, Confluence wouldn't have financial information unless someone really messed up. It's for documenting and processing, not sharing confidential info. Well, fingers crossed, because I don't want anybody's personal financial info out.
No, exactly. That's not what I'm not really interested in the numbers. I'm much more interested in the business plans and strategies to see what the
Right.
hell they're thinking. The numbers are of vastly secondary importance, and customer data I don't even want, not the direct ones that they also
No.
should be having.
No, and then Packing Proton says one of the chatters said it was leaked on 4chan. Wouldn't be surprised. Well, we'll have to keep our.
I don't have a 4chan account.
Yeah, neither do I. Moose says, Will Smith, honey, I'm home. Bull, I just finished off in your wife. How was the Bad Boys film shooting? Yeah. Then Action Com says, Chato, your opinion on theater assigned seating. Yeah, this was another part of the question that we were talking about.
That was interesting. Well, that happened during COVID, and it has remained. I don't mind the. I don't. I like not having to rush to my seat. Even in the regular theaters now, up here at least, you pick your seat.
I'm of two worlds on that one, because like
like
Andre, when
seats.
No, well, I used to be one of those guys who showed up early.
Yeah.
It's like if you didn't show up early, tough shit. You get to sit in the side.
Right.
You know, like you're gonna come in late. Guess what? You get the shit seat. Like, and it drives me nuts when I'm trying to find a decent ticket for a movie, and I get stuck with a shit seat, and then I show up to the theater, and a bunch of people don't show up, and there's decent seats. I'm that tempted to go and fucking sit in one of the good seats.
I do that.
I would if it wasn't so packed, possibly, but like. That's the thing is, and if that was the case, I probably wouldn't have got a shit seat in the first place. But then on the other side of it, it's like I'm of two minds on it, you know, because the one thing that really kind of clenched me on the whole, I think we should have it, was, I'll keep this as brief as possible. When I went to see the next to last Jurassic Park movie, not the last one, but the next to last one, they screwed up and started playing Deadpool 2. So they made us all get up and go to another theater. And then they decided to switch us back to the original theater because they had figured out how to get the movie to go over there instead. And between the two moves, we lost our good seats, my girlfriend and I at the time. And I was pissed because we had primo seats and we showed up early. And what could we do? We couldn't make people just move out of the seat. Like there was no assigned seating. So
right.
You know, and at that point I was just all pissed off already. We'd been sitting there for an hour waiting for the damn movie to start. So it was just whatever. But like, I just got tickets to come see it the next day instead. But point being, I wish I hadn't gone back and seen it because it was the worst Jurassic Park movie ever. That's the one in the mansion. But anyhow, yeah. So like at that point, I'm like, okay, that's probably my best argument for assigned seating that kind of trumps all the other ones. Is at least that way, if something happens, you know you're guaranteed to get your spot, no matter what. And like yesterday, when I went to see the movie, I actually bumped into a guy, like literally in an accident. It wasn't, luckily it was a minor, nobody was hurt, not a lot of damage, but I was like 10-15 minutes late to getting into the film. Now, if that theater was packed, I wouldn't have got a seat, but I had my seat, my primo seat set up, and I was good because they show a half-hour commercials before the movie. So I got lucky there. But so yeah, I guess I got to lean into assigned seating. And Andre, I remember the first time I brought it up, you're like, haven't you had assigned seating for years?
We have never had anything else.
Yeah, so I guess this is not a thing outside of the US. So
no, it isn't. I mean, assigned seats is the standard in Europe. Like there's no other option. Everything is the assigned seats always.
because you're all
That's always been.
communists.
Well, maybe, but yeah, that's how it is. And I'm
Actually,
very
that's like the
happy about
opposite of communism.
No. You have been told what kind of fun you're going to have.
Oh, I
No,
guess.
I got to choose it.
I was gonna say no. You get to choose it.
I
Yeah,
chose it.
because you're part of the apparatchik.
No, because I can just either go to the counter and request where I want to sit, or I can go online and pick the exact seat myself.
But
So,
there
yeah.
should. But did you give a seat to a poor person, a proletariat who couldn't get an assigned seat?
Yeah.
If that proletariat, if that proletariat is coming to the movie with me, yes. Otherwise, that proletariat can sort themselves out.
See,
Yeah.
you're just not going with the flow there, Andre.
No, I look out for my own comrades.
See, and Daniel Hall knows what I'm talking about. Here's why I pick the seats I do, even though it pisses off some of my ex-girlfriends. Because some of them always wanted to sit on like near the aisle. I'm like, why? Like, so we can get a crick in our neck and hear half the movie. Yeah. Because there's certain sweet spots in the theater where it sounds perfect. And you can see the screen the best.
I always get aisle seats.
I don't. You're old.
I just in case I have to run to the washroom.
Exactly. See, now as I get older, I might get closer to the aisle. Emerald Edge City sends in 5 and says, "Call me Chato. You're spot on about movie theater thing. I personally enjoy going to the theater. It is my go-to place, I think he means, for dates. But there's nothing. Well, and that's the thing also I bring up is, I brought up the concerts and sporting events and all that kind of stuff. Taking a date to a movie is one of the few semi-affordable things that are left out there.
Yeah, that's true. It's also a lazy choice for guys.
It is kind of. I mean, don't take a date to a movie the first time out.
No, but sometimes, yeah. Again, it's
but with
men are lazy. They're not very creative when it comes to dates.
Let's wrap this portion up. I know some people were asking, did I like the movie? Yeah, I liked the movie. I enjoyed it. There's no woke shit in it as far as I can tell. It is the bad boys. They don't replace them with any girls. So, I mean, yeah, in that respect. So, yeah, no, I found it quite enjoyable for the most part. I think most people get their $7 to $12, $15 worth, depending on what you pay to see it. I think you'll enjoy it. For the most part. But yeah, so let's get into this Star Wars business since I didn't watch it. What did you guys think of this all? No. Well, here's the thing, Paul. I haven't watched Mando season 3. I only watched a couple episodes of Andor and Boba Fett. And I didn't watch any of Ahsoka, so I figure why break the trend?
No, it's just a chore, Tom. Seriously.
I got cats to take care of.
I think that's more
he's
important.
Demanding. So
way more important.
Yeah.
You also got videos to edit, and I'd rather
this is true.
Yeah.
Well, what do you want me to say about the Acolyte? I'm going to be producing another video after I did my green light.
Well, yeah, let's hear your brief review of the second episode. Well, we bring up a story where we actually now have the numbers, because that's what we're talking about today. Not how awful it was, but the numbers and how awful they are.
Well, do you want to start with that?
But let's begin with your review of episode 2. We already got your review on Wednesday of episode 1. But now you've seen the second one. And maybe you didn't have more time to reflect on the first.
Yeah, I've had more time to reflect on the first. And I'm doing a video based on the concept of writing. And there's a writing called and then there's a different style called because. So, and then writing is convenience writing, which is, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. It has very little to do with what happened before, or it doesn't set up what has happened before. So, for instance, you've got I'm going to give away spoilers, you've got the floating Jedi. So we don't know anything about floating Jedis that can create a force field around themselves. And so these things are just thrust upon us without explanation, without previous presaging. There's very little presaging. There's some absolute idiotic writing in there where people will say something. For instance, the green woman says, "Oh yes, we know about the break-in at the temple on whatever the planet was of the Jedi temple, and yes, we now know it's not OSHA." But they don't, because it's later on when they meet up with the South Asian girl who said, yeah, she got paid to help May to break in. That's when you find out that it's not OSHA, it's May. There's no way they would have known that earlier. Like it's the writing is so horrendous. So what I'm doing is just taking the first part. I don't know how long the video is going to be, but I'm going to be taking the first part of the second episode, and this is the way I'm going to be doing the review on it. I'm going to take the first part of it and show what is and then writing. So, and then this happened, then this happened. Then I'm going to take A New Hope, which is a gold standard. I'm sorry, I'm going to use that because, as my dad said, don't compare yourself to the worst, compare yourself to the best, right? Because there are bad Lucas movies that's got and then writing, but that's not my point here. So I'm going to show how A New Hope at the very beginning is because writing. You know, why Leia allowed herself to be captured because she wanted to distract Vader from the fact that the two droids are going to escape in the pod. So there's so much because writing in A New Hope, which is how that's how you're supposed to write. You don't and then write stuff. And Acolyte is the most amateurish and then kind of bullshit writing. And it's not worth watching. I mean, anybody, like it looks like fanfic. It looks like Star Wars. People are behaving like Star Wars, but May and OSHA act exactly the same way. Yes, they're twins, but even Disney has got experience with what was the Double Trouble, the twins movie? What was that called? With Haley, what's her name from the UK? Anyways, yes, they've had movies with troublesome twins, but they act differently, have different accents. One's American, one's British. Here, it's just dreadful. And what's funny is they've got the guy Barrett, Charlie Barrett, who is the mean guy. He's the one who's the bad cop and all of this, and he's the man, and everything he says is stupid because he suggests something, and then the girls all around him come up with another plan that, oh yes, that's way better because
of course, because this is still Lucasfilm.
Yes, but the thing is, everything that Charlie says is actually right from a procedural police way. No, you should do it. Listen to Charlie. Don't listen to the women. The women are nuts. Don't do it that way. That makes absolutely no sense at all. So, but they have to put down the men. The men are always saying stupid things, and the women always have the right stuff. And again, yeah, there's moments where there's character expansion lines, but they're irrelevant to the story. So ideally, when you're writing, you're either expanding the character, advancing the story, and ideally you want to have every single line do both. And it's just so bad, and it's worse than I initially thought. So first run through, I went, that's vaguely okay. But now that I've run it through a second and third and fourth time just to do this video that I'm putting together, this and then versus because writing, it's just so utterly bad. It's driving me nuts. It's like I've got bees under my shirt and I can't scratch hard enough. So don't watch it.
Yeah. No, again, it's J.J. Abrams storytelling all over again. Mystery boxes and then. That's what exactly all of this is. But the big
hovering
question,
guy.
though,
You've got the hovering Jedi mystery box, right?
Indeed. But let's get into the article that is on screen here.
Yes, let's do that.
Deadline Hollywood are doing Disney's bidding and announcing the number that Disney themselves have put out there, namely the Acolyte blasts onto Disney Plus. Yeah, notice they have the blasts onto Disney Plus with 4.8 million views in the first day of streaming. Wow, that's amazing for a platform with 150 million subscribers or more.
What's that
4.8
percentage?
million. It sounds so much, doesn't it? It sounds like a lot. That's what they want you to think.
Is that their subscriber base? 150 million?
More than it's like 154, 155 worldwide or something like that. So we are dealing with less than 3% of total subscribers
That's
that saw
terrible.
the Acolyte in the first day of streaming.
That's terrible.
It is terrible. It really is. They're trying to spin this as a big win, but obviously it isn't. Let's read what they have to say. The Acolyte is off to a promising start on Disney Plus. And no, it isn't. The new Star Wars series launched on June 4th with 2 episodes, generating 4.8 million views in its first day on the streamers. Remember, this is divided between 2 episodes, not just one. That makes it the biggest series premiere on Disney Plus this year. Okay.
But you notice that they already went from blast in the headline to promising in the copy.
Yeah, that's some change there. And also, it's notice what they said now, because I just love it when they do this, when they invent some brand new metric to make it a win. Like, oh, this is the biggest movie ever to open on a
On
weekend
Thursday.
in February that is not a sequel and and they add all of these hedges and hedges and hedges just to get like a new kind of artificial record. And this then is the biggest day opener of a Disney Plus series this year. Now, Tom and Paul, please try to remember, what series are we competing with here? What other Disney Plus series did this thing beat? I know the answer. I want to
You
hear
mean
you
this
speculate.
in this particular year or in past years?
In this particular year, because that's what they're saying. This was the biggest day this year for a Disney Plus series.
What wasn't that other Disney show, Hillary Duff Gets a Hysterectomy, pretty big? Wasn't that a big series? Never mind.
I think that may have been Hulu. No, the other series that qualifies here is Echo. So what they're really saying is this opened bigger than Echo.
Echo was this year? I can't even.
Yes,
It's like,
yes, it was January,
and that got canceled.
I think their excuse is that they were only planning that one season.
Bullshit.
Probably. But so yeah, so that's the big win. That's that they might as well say open bigger than Echo, because in a sense that is what they're saying when they say the new that makes it the biggest series premiere on Disney Plus this year, beating out Echo, because that was the only other series premiere on Disney Plus this year.
Wow. Well, they're not lying.
No, they're not lying. They're just being deceptive.
Right. Well, this deceptive insofar as whether it's
they're trying
actually
to spin it. They're
or
trying
not.
to spin what is objectively really bad data. And they're trying to spin it as if it's something positive. And then it continues. Disney Plus doesn't generally release viewership data for series after just one day of streaming. In August, the streamers said that Ahsoka drew 14 million views in its first 5 days. So, Ahsoka, 14 million views in 5 days. And what did we find out later after all was said and done? Namely, that Ahsoka underperformed big time. But moving on with the story here, because they have a narrative to set. So they try to frame it as Ahsoka did amazing, drawing 14 million views in 5 days. They continue. As of now, note that hedge, the Acolyte is on track to zoom right past that benchmark, but it'll need to sustain similar viewership over the weekend in order to do so. So yeah, very glad that they added that hedge. Paul, do you think that the Acolyte will be able to sustain viewership of these 2 episodes over the course of the weekend?
Well, we'll see what happens with 3. But rumor has it that 3 is really the episode that will make or break this show, because it's marginally okay. Like if the show just kept on buzzing along with what they did in the first 2, it would be marginally. It actually, honestly, would be better than Ahsoka in my mind.
Yeah, I
At least
agree with that.
it's
But
a
from
mystery, and you can sustain crappy mysteries over time. All you need to do is watch British television, which is suffused with mysteries, and there's just some absolutely brutally bad mysteries. But I mean, you want to see how it ends. So in this particular case, they've got that
I
end.
don't know how many is going to stick with this just to see how it ends. I mean, they tried to do that with the Rings of Power, and we know now that only 30% of those who
Right.
started watched it all the way to the end.
And
So
we
if
found
this
that
thing got 4.8 million views on the first episode, I'd be very curious to see what the views are going to be for episode 8 once that premieres in, I presume, 7 weeks here.
And it's not much of a mystery anyway. We now know after the second episode that she needs to kill 2 more Jedi, right?
The big
guys are not
mystery is
looking
who's making her do it. Who's the Sith?
That's right.
Yeah,
It's Tom. Tom is the Sith.
Oh, I am.
yeah.
Would you Sith down, Tom?
Tom,
That's
you
a
were
big
saying,
bullshit. Oh, I was going to make a shitty joke.
yeah.
I was just
Sith
going to
joke.
say, I mean, looking at these views, I mean, 4.8 million viewers in Zack Snyder's numbers, that's like $40 billion. So this is a hit. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Rebel Moon was wretched.
Biggest movie of all time.
And for comparison, what views did that get in its first day?
I don't know, like 20 billion thousand million views, according to
Zach.
Well, I actually would imagine it did get more views than this because they
Probably did.
tried
Let me
to
look.
tout this as it's something amazing. But really, I mean, as a network executive, Paul, and consider for a moment that you're a network executive, not
Sure.
in Canada, which has a lot of land, but not that many people. But you're an executive in the U.S.
I don't have a one
which
day
has
for Rebel
300
Moon.
million people. And just imagine you're a TV executive, and here you have like this new thing that costs 180 million, and it really needs to be a hit show, and it's only able to get 4.8 million viewers. This does not sound like good numbers to me, because I know that Star Trek Star Trek Enterprise was cancelled when it dipped below like 5 million viewers.
And Enterprise was on
That was
regular
UPN.
TV.
That was regular TV. It was UPN.
Yeah.
And those numbers weren't good enough. And here then you have a premium streaming service in Disney Plus with 150 million viewers, and not just in the US, but all over the world, and less than 3%.
Well, Andre,
Yeah.
what is, there's only 2 metrics that are important to a streamer. What are they?
Well,
if they're gaining viewers or losing viewers, I'd imagine.
Exactly.
Yes, that's it. Those are
I
the
was
only
about to. You have like the churn, and you have like what you have. But yeah, of course, yeah, it's plus or minus.
Or
like if they're gaining more people due to this series than losing, then it's successful. That is the only metric that's valuable to Disney.
But unfortunately, I think.
Carry on, Tom.
Oh no, I was just going to say. I think the thing is here is that's just it. We've gotten to a point where all that's left to watch these Star Wars shows are those few hanger-ons and people like the Yellow Flash who just want to, review it, basically. So
that's why I put toxic Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I mean, at this point, who's left to really watch it? I mean, people who are curious to see how bad it is, that's about it.
That's why I ultimately watched the first episode through Seaboat means.
Yeah, it sounded like you were under what is it they call it in your cups.
No, it sounded like "Arr, me matey." That's what it sounded like.
Did you say you were in your cups when you watched it?
No.
That's a British term for
Oh, okay.
being drunk.
2 girls, 1 cup. What?
No,
No, like cups of ale.
no drinking for it. Just watch
Ah.
the first episode, and it's bad. And this
Ah.
is supposed to be one of the good ones, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
Focus
two
on the
first
good
ones. From
yeah.
everything I hear, the 2 first ones, they're the good ones, and it's all downhill from there. And I saw that even Grace from Beyond the trailer even said that she's seen the first 4 episodes, and she even said that from here on out, for the next few episodes, we'll get some answers, but just more mysteries. And that was in her positive review. So it's just more mystery boxes after mystery boxes.
Yeah,
So
this
I'm
show
not
is
confused with that.
this show is something special when it comes to shit. And I love their spin. This 4.8 million views. This is
Yeah.
just for 2024.
Yeah,
So
we actually covered
their biggest 2024 reveal. This isn't. It almost sounds like the best premiere ever.
and
And,
as I just covered just before you came in here, when you look at all of the other premieres in 2024, we are really only competing with one other, and that's Echo. So they just might as well say this opened bigger than Echo, and that's like,
Yeah,
big
how'd that
success
work
there.
out for Echo, Andre?
Not very well. Not very well at all.
We're gonna have the same thing with this. So in a couple of weeks, you'll be able to show the next article saying what happened to the views.
Yeah.
And can someone inform me, was the intention of the Acolyte to be an ongoing series or just a one-off of 8?
They have not shared this data.
Okay.
It's the kind of thing where they obviously internally plan on there being more seasons, but they haven't publicly announced how many seasons they wanted to have.
Dude,
Because
do
it's
that
6.
way.
How about
Pardon me,
8
what?
seasons?
Probably, I'm sure that that's something that they would like to do, because
I would like
I
it
know
too.
that, for instance, with Obi-Wan Kenobi, Obi-Wan himself, Ewan McGregor, he's like really keen to get into the other seasons that they were going to do, but they're probably not going to happen, and it's not looking good for Ahsoka season 2 either, because the numbers just aren't there. So I wouldn't be surprised if Leslie Headland has created a Bible and plans for at least 4 or 5 seasons, but before they're going to actually make them, they're going to have to see how this one goes. So my bet would be that this is going to end up yet another 1-season series, but like all the others, there were probably internal hopes and plans to do much more than
Well,
one.
because they have no idea how to make series television. This is a horrible large movie that's been cut up into chunks, and they just have no idea. Someone wrote to me in my comments and said they would have really loved to have seen Carrie Ann Moss and some other individual just traveling around the galaxy solving crime. And it's every single episode be rinse and repeat. There, she's a Jedi. She's got a crime to solve, something going on. I would have watched that. I think that's exactly the kind of thing Disney needed to have done. I'd love to see Carrie Ann Moss in a ongoing series.
Adventures of the Jedi with Carrie Ann Moss,
Yeah,
country sheriff. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that would be much better than the Force is lesbian.
Oh, wait. Yeah. I mean, again, Disney has no idea, even though they own ABC TV. They're not asking anybody at ABC TV that has got expertise in series TV. They just have no freaking idea how to make something like this that people want to see every single week.
Yeah, no, like they've let go of all their talent. Who would know that something like that?
I think
They
this
have-
is all done intentionally.
You
I
think
don't see. I don't. How do you keep doing this over and over again? How does she really has to have dirt on somebody, because there's just no explanation to me on why they have done nothing but bad show after bad show. They've literally ran The Mandalorian started off pretty good. I
Right.
mean, it wasn't blowing anybody away, but it was serviceable.
It was the
okay.
Rifleman. It was the Rifleman. That's all they
Yeah.
needed every single week was do the first season over and,
And then-
over.
Well, I've told
But
people
skip
time
ahead.
and time again, though.
Hold on, Tom. Wait 1 second. Take Mandalorian where it was and skip ahead to the future where we're getting Lizzo episodes, and they switched him off. He is not the main character of that show anymore.
No.
It's just this. It seems like it's being done intentionally. Maybe that's a crazy conspiracy theory, but I have no other way to explain what the hell is going on with this other than they want to run people off and bring in this new fan base, which I don't see them showing up. But, it's just I can't think of any. Why would they keep doing this?
Well, and that's the thing is, Kathy doesn't have to have anything on anybody. She's just Kathleen Kennedy. She's got her career that she can rest on forever. But I'm having a hard time believing that she isn't intentionally doing this shit anymore, because with the interviews that have come out,
She's literally making the Force female.
Exactly. Like, it's getting into this point where she's almost like doing it on purpose. Like, you can't even deny that she's doing it on purpose. And if you go through her interviews, you kind of get an idea of the type of person she is. And I mean, as much as they want to resist it and make a big deal out of it and saying, oh, she's not this thing that she was on South Park, it's like, no, she is becoming exactly what she is on South Park. And not only that, I stand by that. I said they went off light on her. They went off very light on her in comparison to what they should have. Because if you look at the show, they put all the bad shit into the Cartman version. The real version of her, in quotations, that comes out later on is supposed to be all nice and, oh, we fucked up and we want to fix it. And da-da-da-da-da. It's like, no. The real Kathleen Kennedy is that Cartman version. It clearly is. Because you're going around, stick a woman in it and make her fucking gay. Because we learned that from the story of, I hated even giving, the benefit of the doubt to Leslie Headland that she may have actually been a Star Wars fan. It might be a Bo DeMeo situation. Because she even talks about having, a tattoo.
Oh, no way. Don't even.
Look, here's my point. Here's my point. Maybe not as good, but here's my point. Because she even says in an interview, she turned in her first draft, and Kathy said, this is a great Star Wars story. Now make it a you story. Now, what happens to the story? She shoves all this personal shit with her sister in it. So I still maintain it possibly could have worked had it just been a Star Wars story that was inspired by Kill Bill and Frozen to a point. But her injecting all this personal shit into it is what's making it all fucking gay. Let's be real here. And not only that, she's gaying it up on purpose, and she was encouraged to do so. Right? By whom? Kathleen Kennedy and all the other people around her. And that gets me to my initial point. Why won't they get rid of her? Because all the people around her agree with this shit, up to and including Bob Iger. Because as Script Doctor points out time and time again, they don't know how to make boy stuff. And they got rid of the one guy in the fucking room who did. And that was Lasseter, because he could, Cars was one of the biggest selling toys they had of all time for boys because of that shit. Disney went and bought a bunch of boy toys and fucking turned them into girl toys. And they're sitting there going, why don't the boys want to play with these anymore? Oh, they just must be all misogynistic. Because that's the other thing they set up with this whole thing. If you don't like the Acolyte, then you're a homophobic, misogynistic pig. That's the same shit we heard back with The Last Jedi.
It doesn't work anymore.
No, it doesn't work anymore. You and I know that both, but this is where I'm saying, like, I can't argue anymore that she's not doing this unintentionally. There's clearly some intention behind this, and we knew she was trying to get rid of the old stuff.
But then that's really a management issue. Like, as high up
to answer the point, at this point, they're encouraging that that's the answer.
But as high up the food chain as she is, she's pitching whatever she's pitching, and somebody is accepting it. And so
that's why we want to get rid of Bob Iger, because he's the real problem here.
Hold on a second. It's Sir Bob Iger now.
That's correct.
Yes,
I saw that shit.
Because he even got some bullshit title specifically for his service of diversity, equity, and inclusion in entertainment. I mean,
is that what he got knighted for?
Yes.
No, for supplying the movie industry in the UK with a ton of cash.
Yeah, but really, I mean, the people that got that awards, I mean, there was none for Jason Statham, let's say.
It was him and John Williams, I think, were the two that got knighted during that ceremony. John Williams, I understand. Okay, John Williams is the soundtrack to our culture, pop culture life. But Bob Iger, that is just a strange one.
Well, Spielberg, I think really. What was the name of the theater? The giant facility in the UK that he's done all his stuff in. Damn it!
I'm not sure.
Okay. I'll look it up. Not that anyone cares.
Nobody was covering that. It's just surprised. I threw it in a video that I did yesterday because this is just funny. Bob,
again,
Sir,
that's
Sir
something
Iger
that
now.
that's something you throw in a video, but again, it's of course it's a big honor and stuff like that, but it's an honored thing, and it's not like a big story all on its own. It's not reflective of any genuine merit in this particular case.
Well, it's kind of cool that you can say I'm Sir. You know, I don't.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, for him, it's very cool. Absolutely. Sir
Patrick Stewart, Sir Ian McKellen.
No one does the pompous stuff better than the UK.
Well, they do have the history for it.
They do, and America, even though you separated from, the glorious godmother of England, you just get some royalty with an accent coming over to your country, and you guys are falling all over your feet to line up to shake their hand.
Everybody love but him. Prince Harry. I don't like him.
No, Prince Harry doesn't count. He's horrible.
Let's get rid of him and his Hollywood wife. Though they've renounced their citizenship in the UK, though, I guess.
Have they?
Have they?
I think Prince Harry did, didn't he?
Wow.
No.
Didn't he, so he could become an American citizen?
I think he wants to become an Iranian.
We got to get George on here. He'd have the skinny on it.
I don't think that. I don't think that he has become a natural American citizen just yet, and I don't think that he even could give up his British citizenship while still being a royal, and he still is technically prince. So, we
send him to Paul's country. Let's get him to Canada.
Hey, stop it! I don't need any more people. We sent you Ted Cruz. You can have him.
You also sent Brian Adams.
And many people. We have enlivened the American entertainment industry for decades. Give us a break. Mac Sennett, Jim Carrey.
Oh yeah,
Brian Adams wasn't as much of the problem. It was Celine fucking Dion. Y'all can take her shit back.
Oh no, she was an amazing singer.
Shit. If I hear that Titanic song one more time.
Yeah, but that's not her fault.
I don't care.
She can sing. She was a professional singer. You did not have to auto-tune. You did not have to auto-tune her. You might not have like her music, but she was a pro.
But that's a different.
People are saying William Shatner. Is he Canadian?
Yep,
he's Canadian too. Yes.
Oh, I'm.
Oh yeah, we keep the good ones when we can. But
Scotty, Mr. Dune is Canadian. You Americans would suffer desperately without Canadian talent.
Yeah, but they all keep wanting to come down here. What's that tell you, Paul?
Well, it's because our industry sucks up here.
I remember Michael J. Fox was talking about how much shit he got for coming down here back then.
Oh yeah, he became an American citizen, but he was thankful for the work and the opportunity that he got, and that was his way to thank America, which I think was the absolute right thing to do. There's not much work up here.
Yeah, I can imagine.
We're like any kind of country that competes with the United States. We just have government funded entertainment.
Yeah. Well, speaking of government funded entertainment, Chaos Sonic 1 says with a $5 super chat, I will point out that if movies didn't keep with the personal politics, then the second factor of why movie theaters are failing are the first is prices. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think actually the other thing is the bigger problem because people will pay to go see movies they want to see.
Even if they're political.
Yeah.
You just have to budget them in such a way that they're going to make money for the approximate audience you think will be interested in coming to see it.
What's funny
That's
is
a
a
big
movie.
problem with the Acolyte as well. It cost 180 million that they will admit to, as opposed to 18 million, which is what it should have cost given the audience they're aiming for.
When I saw there was a problem with this, I mean, obviously we all knew there was a problem, but I mean, you know, I'm sitting here watching this thing go down with the Sound of Freedom going, this is fucked up because this movie is being touted now as a right-wing film when 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it would have just been a film.
Yeah. But everything has to be labeled by the tribe.
Exactly. And because everything has swung so far left and the new modernized left, let's say, in Hollywood, that when something like Sound of Freedom comes out now, it might as well be fucking Rambo, the way they treat it. Because that's what it reminded me of, was the way that they used to talk about Rambo back in the 80s, about how it was all, oh, go Reagan era shit, you know, and all that kind of stuff. It's like,
yeah, jingoistic.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So yeah, it just, to me, the politics, you can have politics in movies. It's not like they can't. In fact, I was making fun of Beneath the Planet of the Apes for having such a blatant left-leaning message in its film at the time for the era.
Well,
but now we look back on it, it's just kind of funny, but yeah.
There are some left-leaning things that are still good. Like X-Men 97 was left-leaning. But it put the story
is kind of
first.
left-leaning, yeah.
It is, but you put the story first. The story came first with that show, and that's why it's good. And with shows like The Acolyte, they put all the messaging
politics first, yeah.
I mean, think back to that. Remember that diversity board they had when they were talking about I know you know what I'm talking about. They had that whiteboard with all of that shit
dinosaurs.
On it. Like 90% of the shit on that board.
Dinosaurs. That's exactly
it was all
what it
diversity and all that, like LBGT. It was all messaging on the board. No story really, other than dinosaurs and war. Like that's not how you do it.
Well, and that's possibly like, because like, I mean, it is true. Like, you guys are not wrong, and that's possibly why I felt kind of relieved walking out of Bad Boys last night, was because even the film before this, they kind of had this diversity quote.
Yeah, I was about to ask you if it was good.
In the last film, a little bit, it wasn't like overpowering, but in this film, they even pushed that even back. No, this film, if anything, what it's benefiting from it is it's a big apology for Will Smith. So if anything, they're trying to make him look good. Martin's having fun. The story is about them specifically. There's no, like, and I said this earlier before you got in here, there's no other stuff intruding this movie. There's no outside politics involved in it. There's no, you know, we got to get the girls involved or any of that kind of shit. In fact, I don't even want to spoil it too much. I'll just say there's one scene that's really great that shows a man taking care of his family like you wouldn't fucking believe. And it's going to have so many of the Second Amendment folks screaming, hell fucking yeah, and getting up in their seats, I bet. And it's a character that earned it through the last 3 films. And I think people are really going to enjoy that scene. It's once people start talking about the movie. But yeah, so there's a lot of things in this movie that I think people are going to root for. Will may not be one of them.
Now,
but
does he pee sitting down in it?
No.
Because he has said that he pees sitting down recently.
I've heard that. Well, I've also heard a lot of other things about him, but yeah, no, like as far as this goes, like I said earlier before you got in here, it humanizes him the most of all the films. And
so
you can tell they're
good?
really trying to, it is actually pretty good. Not as good as the first 3. Let's see. The first film is like one of those 10 out of 10 movies for me. The second film was a big dip down. So I give that like a 6. The third film I thought was a really big improvement. That was like an 8. So this is like a 7 or a 7.5. It's right behind the third film.
Okay, well that's not bad then.
Yeah, it has its moments where it kind of is like, okay, we can move along.
Looks like
here,
it's going to make money.
And the other thing I said that was cool was they didn't show all the funny parts in the trailer.
Well, you showed that picture of the empty theater, but they were saying that the previews pulled in as much money as Oppenheimer. Did you go in the morning?
I went to the first showing in the DLX Dolby Atmos screening. That's why
it was empty, Tom.
The
biggest crowd is at 18 through 24. They're going to see it at night. I do the
Well, not-
same as you. I try to go like around 1 o'clock because I know there'll be no kids.
Yeah, so I wasn't like, I didn't think that was
Now,
necessarily going to be indicative.
You can't
but-
enjoy a movie when it's full of like young kids and stuff because they're on their phone and shit. And God bless them. They'll all go in the night. I'm gonna go in the morning.
No,
That's
I
when
fully admit that
that's
I'm
when I'm
glad
looking.
it was not indicative of other theaters, and I was somewhat wrong, or however you want to put it. So yeah. Hopefully it plays out through the weekend. But yeah, let's keep moving here. We got Jason Webster who says Ahsoka sounds like a brand of laundry detergent, and the Acolyte sounds like a brand of gentle to the stomach laxative. It does. Take Acolyte.
Yeah.
And get
Acolyte.
regular.
Or Acco Heavy for those special months. That special time of the month, take Acco Heavy.
When you have too much cheese.
That's right.
Everett Merrill says in chat and says, I hate to defend this show, but they know, or he didn't say but, they know it's not OSHA because she was in custody when the break-in happened. That was a terrible example for the and then writing for the show.
Yeah.
There you go.
And they dismissed the mystery way too quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, they dismissed that right away with that dude from Squid Game. He was like, all the evidence says it's you, but you says it's not. I'm going to believe you.
Mhm.
And that was the end of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the second episode has it even worse, where the bad cop guy says, "What are you doing? We should be, she's a dangerous criminal. She got away," and things like that. You need to feel the force, or whatever the stupid thing he said. No, what actually Barrett said was correct from a procedural point of view. Like, no. You need to let her go because you can feel she's okay.
Well, my favorite thing is that they're taking a page out of Marvel's book. So like America Chavez, you know that character.
Yes.
Remember from Doctor Strange in the comics? Her backstory is that she's from a place called Utopia. You know why it's called Utopia?
Because
no
there's
men
only
there?
women.
Because it's only women,
Yep.
Right.
and women can have sex with each other and have babies. But that's pretty on the nose, calling it Utopia. So I don't know. If
I
they're gonna
was
call
only
them this,
joking when I said because there's no men there, but of course it's Marvel, so yeah, or modern day Marvel.
So the
I
Force
actually
is
didn't
female.
think that was the answer.
It is
Part,
the
part
answer.
of the problem too, and I don't know how prevalent it is, but a lot of and we talk about the movie shills that obviously have been reviewing this show positively. There is an awful lot of the gay contingent are very well represented in Hollywood media, and I'm not entirely certain that some feel that they've got to support this just to support the side. I know Rex Reed would speak his mind. There's no way to try to buy him off. And I'd love to get, I wonder whether he's reviewed this show or not. But, so you've got a whole bunch of people who might not like the show at all because they're professional, but because they're part of the tribe, they're not allowed to say what they feel the truth is, because then they're going to get pillared by their group. So there's a lot of dynamics going on here that are not particularly useful in finding out what the truth is about the show.
Which is so you're saying, Paul, that none of us should ever pay attention to critics ever again because more and more people are finding that out for themselves.
Well, we've talked about it already. The only honest commentary is happening here on YouTube.
Yeah.
The media
because we don't have any allegiance to the production. We don't have anything to lose, so we can be honest about it. No one is going to deny us any future access.
We hate everything. Get it right.
We don't have that access right now, and we don't want it if the price to pay for it is giving dishonest reviews, which are
sure, and
blatantly dishonest.
There's media also want not just access to the properties to be able to review, but they also want to remain friendly with the actors involved in these things because that's really their stock and trade, right? They're able to phone up an actor and get a interview with them, and then that's what gives them more business. So they've got to pick and choose who their winners and losers are, and it's problematic. You sell your soul.
Well, and not only that, it's ridiculous. I've never seen this before in the history of film, right? It used to be the other way around. Like, if you got a bad review or you did something bad, you had to worry about the press, and they were more worried about staying in the good graces of the press than the other way around. This access thing feels like it came around more so in the 90s, late 90s into the 2000s. Maybe Paulie, if he's in the chat, can help me out with that because he used to work in those kind of areas. And it's just like, it feels so weird because they never used to be that way.
Well, everything is followed the Entertainment Tonight module, not module, process.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, the model. Yeah.
Model.
Well, because like a great example is like Roger Ebert. He could sit there and just destroy somebody on his show.
But
he'll go have an interview with them and they're kissing his ass because they know damn well that if they get in his good graces, he's going to be a little more lenient on him. Another era. And you're right. You're totally right.
And back when papers actually had relevance, things have changed enormously since then.
But like, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, feels like, wow, what the hell happened here? Right? Because it used to be Roger Ebert was the guy who had all the power, not the guy on the other side. You know what I mean? And I mean, that's a bad example.
But now up is down and black is white. There's been a complete and total reversal in this Gillette timeline, as I like to call it. So, yeah.
Yeah. And in this case, though, like, to me, it feels like things have shifted to the point because it never used to be that way. It used to be that if they fucked up, they'd apologize. They'd do everything they could. That's what I felt like. Okay, we're kind of back to normal like last night when I was watching Bad Boys, because it's like, okay, I know why they're doing this, but I don't care because it's not hurting the film, right? Like compared to what we normally see with the messaging, as opposed to this being more of a, we're trying to repair Will Smith's image. But anyway, Jesus Davila gifted 5 memberships. I don't know if you grabbed that yet when I stepped away, but thank you for that.
I did not, so I'm glad you did.
And then on the point of Godzilla -1, Jason Webster sends in 10 Australian dollars and says that it earned 11 times its production budget. Oppenheimer only did 9.7 times, and Barbie 10 times. They were the only 2 Hollywood blockbusters to earn above 3 times its production budget. Honestly, I'm not even sure if we totally know how much Godzilla -1 has earned overall, because they don't report certain things in certain areas. So I think it's done a lot better than we realize.
I think you can probably add in another at least 50 million just for Netflix.
That, and then God knows what it's going to make on video on demand just in the first few weeks.
Well, think how much better it would have done if it was a dubbed version. That was a subtitled movie, guys.
That's true. And a lot of people don't like watching subtitles. I'm used to it from watching a lot of anime, so it didn't bother me, but I mean, most people do prefer.
If anything, it might help theaters open up to the idea of more.
I can tell you half a dozen people who told me that they weren't going to go see it because it was dubbed, because it was not.
And it's a shame because the dub is nowhere. I'm always an advocate for the original language,
but we're in the minority.
Just better. Yeah, and I get it, but I watched some of the dub. I was curious to how it sounded. It was okay, but it just always, especially live action dubs, always just feel off to me. I don't know what
I agree completely. Like I'm very happy to have grown up in subtitle land and be very accustomed to that, and I can't stand dubbing myself. But yeah, that's me.
But I think you're right. If it had a dub when it was out, I think it would have made a lot more money. And if they had given it a real release schedule, like it was only in a few thousand theaters compared to. Like,
I don't think they were prepared. I don't think they really knew what they had.
Oh yeah, I agree with Tom.
Because I think they were going off of what Shin Godzilla did, and that did okay, but it didn't bust the box office open or anything. Like, you know what I mean?
This movie is leagues above Godzilla. Shin Godzilla, and I love Shin Godzilla.
Well, Andre would argue that as far as the movie quality goes, but no, I agree with you. Like I
think Godzilla -1 is more accessible. Shin Godzilla is a Japanese political story, about red tape. Whereas
I agree
Godzilla
with that.
Godzilla -1 is a human story. It's a story about family.
I agree completely. That is the more accessible to most people. It's just that for me, I liked both of them. I prefer Shin Gojira because I get the the subtext, and to me it's the subtext.
Because he's dead inside.
And Hiroshima.
Oh no, I
sorry,
like it.
Not Hiroshima.
From the creator of Evangelion.
Fukushima. Yeah.
One of my favorite. I love the music in it too, because they pretty much just hijacked the Evangelion soundtrack.
Yeah, well,
which was
quite
great.
literally.
Yeah, they did a couple of scenes, especially that one's like dun 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 dun. You know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
I love that movie, but -1, I put that on a higher pedestal.
It's the more emotional one, absolutely. I do not disagree with that at all. So
Honestly,
I prefer Shin, but I do not blame anyone else for preferring Minus, and I understand it completely.
and I don't know if I don't think you were on the show when I brought this up though, Flash, but like I'm actually kind of disappointed in the English dub, not for the reasons that most people would think. I'm disappointed because it's too good. It does the movie service. I want two different English dubs. I want the good version, and then I want the batshit crazy American.
Oh, you want the
version,
cheesy version?
Yes, because
I
that's
love
what
those
I grew
old.
up on, man. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's-
I love those old shitty because I grew up with the shitty Godzilla
Exactly.
dubs. I watched them
Yeah.
on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah,
all the time.
Sci-Fi, USA, TNT, all those whenever they would show them. Exactly.
Yeah.
The Godzilla marathons. Exactly. And same thing with Kung Fu movies. Like,
Are you talking
sure.
about the ones where it's English but with a Japanese accent?
Yes.
Are you talking about those ones? What are you doing
Yes.
here?
I
The
wish
very
they were
bad
on.
shit, yes.
I have the Criterion Godzilla box set, which is like a giant coffee
Yeah, the
table
big
book.
book. Yeah.
This is the first time I watched some of those in Japanese, actually.
Well, that's the first time some of them have been available here.
Yeah, I think, what was it, King Kong versus Godzilla?
That version of
First
it,
time?
yeah, has never
Yeah.
been available in the US, just the US version. And then there's some of those movies that never even really got releases here, or just really standard VHS type. Because there's only been a few of the Godzilla films that have been released in theaters. And up until Godzilla -1, if I remember right, the most successful Godzilla film to be released that wasn't American was Godzilla versus Kong back in 1960, whatever it was that it came out. Box office wise, so yeah. Because that had gotten the most wide release of a Godzilla Toho film. The more
Yeah, I
you
wish
know.
they would release those. I would buy those if they released like a English dub Toho Godzilla set.
They do have some of the English dubs on that set, but not all of them. And there's some they're missing. See, because I have other Blu-rays that came out before then that actually have the English dubs on them that aren't on those Blu-rays. So, yeah. Which is kind of sad because usually Criterion's pretty good about that stuff. But anyway, moving on. Everett Merrill sends in tennis. Says, oh, we got this one already. I went back around. That's what happened here. We got that one. Okay, here we go. Gene Angry Penguin sends in two and says, like announcing your favorite war crime. I'm not sure what that was in reference to what we had said earlier. Sorry about that, Gene, but I'm sure it was a pretty funny joke at the time. Paulus Plain sends in 100 Norwegian krona and says, the Japanese flag is perfect in the world of cinema. Always bay the Red Sun tickets, the Beast sets, grid sitting all the way America.
All right.
Quite poetic.
Too Tired is here and says with $5, my bet for Sith Master is the lady with the butter knife to the boob. Yep. People will go, which is their only goal. It's obvious to me.
And she's probably the mother or something all along or something like that.
Then Mikey's in the house. He goes, not to be a total asshole here, but the last episode of MASH had 105.97 million Nielsen viewers back in 1983. Over 30 years ago. What a joke. And I don't think it's been beat since.
Nope.
Paul would know.
Nope. And even the episode where Colonel Blake gets shot down was a huge ratings episode and brought an awful lot of people to tears. And that's a different kind of tears than what Acolyte brings people to.
Very true. Yeah.
Now the final episode of MASH, is that the one with the chicken and he's in therapy, or is that just before that? Hawkeye.
I'm trying to remember. I can't recall.
You know the episode I'm talking about, though, right? Because I always can't remember if that's the last episode or not. because that lady has the chicken, and then we find out it's not a chicken because of how the story goes down. Yeah, it is fucking whoa. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, that was a very powerful episode, though.
Yeah. Colonel Blake, none of the cast knew that they were killing Colonel Blake off.
Yeah. Yeah.
That cast went freaking nuts. Back when television actually had an effect on people.
Well, MASH was a big deal. So was
MASH was a big deal. Yes, MASH was a big deal. I mean, speaking of left-wing people, but again, the entertainment was still at the top of the reason for doing something.
Well, and I mean, that's one of those shows that's arguably bigger than the movie ever was.
Yes. Yeah, well, they got to flesh it out, right?
Yeah.
It was the show was extremely good. Very funny.
Yeah. And then Adam Wolford, thank you for the gifted membership. And then Action Com sends in 5 and says, Chato, did you get to see the Red Letter Media video about failing movie theaters? Do you agree, or do you?
I did not see it. No, I don't generally.
You haven't been on
Media
X.
doesn't show up on my radar for whatever reason.
One of my thumbnails made it into that video. I was proud.
I think two of ours did, I think.
You bastards.
Yeah, I don't know if yours did though, Paul. I know like the regular suspects did.
Yeah.
Gary was there, you know.
I'm just not included I'm not included with the cool kids.
Well, basically I didn't watch the whole video, so I don't know what their whole argument was, because I kind of fell out when Mike and them just kind of completely disregarded that any of this problems with the movies could have anything to do with, you know, taking male-driven genre films and replacing them with some female boss queen. And they threw that off the table and threw us all under the bus at the same time without contextualizing any of our videos. In fact, there was a few people who were very upset with that, because they're like, that's not even what the argument they were making, even though Red Letter Media now grouped them in with a bunch of people that were making those type of arguments. But I still say those arguments are sound, and Bad Boys is going to prove that this weekend, if you ask me. So again, you put something in theaters people want to see where you don't destroy the franchise. If it's a franchise genre film, people will go see it. Like, and even with the uphill battle with Will Smith, the fact that this movie did almost $6 million last night, that's a win for Sony. That's a win for Will Smith. I mean, no matter which way you want to cut it, like Flash said, and I got to admit, yeah, it was an anomaly that my theater was empty. So
yeah, I think it's because of the time that you saw it.
Very well could be. And I went to the deluxe theater as well.
It was a Thursday. What was it? Like 1:00?
Well, not only that, there's a bunch of schools that are getting done today. So I'm sure there's all kinds of, like, even on the way there, I ran into a bunch of traffic for, you know, like graduation stuff. So, I mean, that's the thing. There's things going on in my area that could have affected that I didn't even really take into full consideration. But I just posted it, not really trying to, like, shit on the movie or anything like that either. It was just kind of like, wow, you know, where the hell is everybody? But no, I hope it does well. And in that respect,
I would be very happy if it did.
The rest of their argument that I heard, because I didn't hear the rest of it, like a lot of Mike's research sounded like it was research that Andre and I had done 5-6 years ago. So I just shut it off. It was like, yeah, we knew all this stuff, and you're totally disregarding the main problem. So yeah, your video is already out of date, in my opinion. So again, those guys do their own thing. They've been on their own plane for a while. I have my opinions about them. I've always loved them. I think they're hilarious, but sometimes, especially lately, I think they're completely out of touch from what's really going on in the industry. That's just
I haven't even seen the video, so I know.
And that's just going off a part of it. Yeah. But I'm also referring to a lot of their reviews and other things that they've put out lately. Like, again, they're entertaining, but I'm not so sure that they're in touch with film as much as they used to be. They've kind of gotten maybe too big for their britches or something like that. I don't know. Because especially when they have all these guest people on there all the time that are like directors and stuff like that, it can kind of get a little, you know, like they're rubbing elbows too much with Macaulay Culkin.
Oh, you can rub. I think he's worth rubbing elbows with him.
I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, like, to me, it's like, okay, you've kind of crossed into that Rubicon or whatever you want to call it, to where you're no longer one of us per se, but you're kind of
a shill.
not a shill necessarily, but you're in between the mainstream and the non-mainstream, I guess.
Well, like I always like to say, I have integrity and I'm willing to sell it.
Integrity. That's damn good integrity.
That's right. I got my integrity.
Integrity weed. Did everybody watch the new South Park yet? No?
No.
That's too bad. It's pretty good. Adam Wolford says, so we're on a live action Gundam movie and it was made in Canada. Bandai took the name Gundam off it. It was called G Savior and it was really bad. Oh, this is the first I'm hearing about
Never
this.
heard of it.
I've never, let me look this up. Canadian Gundam, eh?
Well, just because it's made in Canada doesn't make it Canadian.
It's called G Savior.
Oh, that's a Gundam design for sure. Absolutely. I never heard of this.
When did it come out?
I was just looking at the images of the mech, and that's a Gundam.
G Savior. $19.99 television film directed by Graham Campbell.
Oh, it's like almost
it
25
says
years
a
old.
Canadian live action.
I'll have to look into this and watch it.
I thought this was something newer, but okay.
Hey,
I'd like to see how this turned out, how bad it really is.
it looks good. I mean, the stills look good. But
well, that's because they're using, that's the Gundam design.
That's the Gundam, yeah.
Gabatron sends in 5 and says, I'm surprised you guys haven't compared the Acolyte premiere viewership to the previous Star Wars D+ releases. It gets a lot worse for Lucasfilm. I think you guys did a little bit. Because you mentioned, Andre, how it stacked up.
Notice very specifically, they didn't say anything about how it opened compared to other Star Wars releases, which is basically on par with them. So they certainly haven't grown the audience. If anything, it's shrunken. But I deliberately wait with that until we get more data, and more data is going to be available. So yeah, just give it another day or two till we have more to do some proper comparisons. Because note, for instance, with Ahsoka, they didn't give the first day numbers there. They gave the first week numbers. So if they gave it like as another update, then we have more to compare with. But they very deliberately haven't given too much so that we can do these comparisons. And there's no one else given these numbers than Disney Plus right now. Let's wait for Samba TV or something. When Samba gets their numbers, that should be interesting. That should be very interesting. That's what I'm looking forward to. That's where we can do some proper comparisons. All we can say for sure right now is certainly didn't do any better than any previous Star Wars. On the contrary, probably did worse. Did better
we have those
than
premiere
Echo.
Numbers for previous Star Wars shows?
No, again, here's the thing, that they don't really share numbers other than when they make an announcement, and they're very careful not to give the exact same numbers, because then they know that the likes of Deadline Hollywood are going to do comparisons. I mean, they even did that with Ahsoka right now. But again, with Disney, they never released the first day numbers for Ahsoka, only the first week numbers, which means, again, you don't have apples to apples comparisons.
Okay.
Which is by design, I think. Because otherwise, they wouldn't be able to hide how bad things really are. And we know they are because they didn't say anything about it opening better than anything from last year. They specifically said open best of Disney Plus series this year.
On a Thursday.
Only comparison is Echo.
On a Thursday afternoon, when the moon was in orbit and Saturn was in line.
Mars was in retrograde. Yeah, that
yeah.
This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Yeah, I saw all those people nude on stage. That was something.
Aquarius. Yes. Anyway, back when hippies were cool.
Yeah.
Now they just suck.
They're not people, they're hippies.
My dad
to-
used to call them scholars. Every time we'd be driving around and he'd see a long hair in his Hungarian accent, he'd always go, "Oh, look, there's another scholar."
I think he was being sarcastic.
You know what? I didn't realize it at the time.
Yeah. Maybe.
Just maybe he was being sarcastic.
A tipping barn has been here for 19 months, and the barn is still tipping. Honors no longer matter anymore unless they're from friends and family. Every field is compromised by connections and money. Oh, yeah. I mean, well, family and friends are everything, man. That's the whole
Oh,
bottom
for
line.
sure.
And I think that's why Bad Boys is going to resonate with people, because it has a strong family message in it, a very strong family message in it. So, indeed. And with that, we're caught up on the super chats, but we have a story here that Flash might have some fun with. There's a rumor going around. The Discovery is discussing shuttering Rocksteady after the Sweet Baby Inc. bullshit.
Indeed. This comes to us from that park place. So
John F.
let's
Trent.
just
Yep.
briefly read through the story here, which is
The original source is Vera Dark.
Very dark.
Yes, it's YouTuber Very Dark, but let's read through it here. A new rumor claims that Warner Brothers Discovery is having internal discussions about shutting down Rocksteady after the developers' Sweet Baby Inc. influenced Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game instantly became a financial failure and forced the company to take a $200 million impairment charge on the game. So yeah, 200 million lost right there. That is fantastic. So really, that kind of is the rumor that they're considering shutting down all of Rocksteady. And the ultimate source for this, exactly as you were saying, is YouTuber Vara Dark. And what's unlikely to help this is rumors that just keeping on doubling down in the Justice League game, with Mr. Freeze now being gender bent. So that's the gist of the story here. Yellow Flash, what do you think about it? Could there be truth to this? Could Discovery be shutting down such an institution as Rocksteady over just this one little $200 million loss?
I think there's definitely something that, I think there could be truth to this. It lost $200 million. They haven't done anything in really years. What was the last big thing they've done outside of Arkham Knight? They didn't even handle the VR game. So, it's a rumor, but when you look at the video game industry, they've been shutting down studios left and right. Look at what happened with the Saints Row studio. Was it Volition? They've had big hits, and they still rolled them up and cut them out and put them at other studios. So just because they've had some good games in the past doesn't save them. If anything, everyone's consolidating right now. It wouldn't make any sense to keep that and move other people there. They would take people and move them other places. I think it might. It's either they're either gonna get shut down or they're gonna get cut, and they're gonna get cut hard. The rumors said by half, which I don't know what they would work on if they lose half their studio. Mobile games.
Well, wherever they make money, I guess. Because do they have anything major in development even at this point?
I don't think so, other than the DLC. I mean, if they do, they're not going to announce it yet. I don't think they have anything far enough along to announce. So, I mean, it just doesn't look good for them. And it's sad because Arkham City, I would argue, is top. You could make the argument that's a top 10 game of all time. Arkham City is an amazing game.
Yeah.
I would at least put it in the top 20. But you could make an argument for being in the top 10 because it's a fantastic game. It's a game that I'll go back and play every now and then because it's so good.
But the people who led that are all gone.
Yeah.
They left a long time ago.
It's a shell of what it used to be, Rocksteady. But this game has tarnished their legacy. for sure. At least the studio's legacy. Not so much the people that made those games. They've all moved on. They're working on a Snake Eyes game now. Some other studio. Which I'm looking forward to that. That might be fun.
Yeah. But one thing that I'm wondering also in terms of Rockstar, is the brand name Rockstar really worth saving
Rocksteady.
Sorry, Rocksteady. You see, I can't even get the name right. Is that name, that brand, is that even worth saving from Warner's point of view? Because they already have all of the properties which are theirs, which belong to Rockstar, which they own the IP for. Warner already has those. So why not just keep those brands, shut down the studio if that's just an albatross at this point and the brand name isn't worth anything, and then just hand the licenses to another studio or even start one from scratch with better people? That's kind of like what I'm thinking. Paul, any thoughts on that before you have to be leaving?
I you know what? I've seen game studios. I mean, I've seen advertising agencies lose half their workers just because they lose a top-notch client. That this stuff happens all the time in many different industries, and it's quite shocking. It's horrible, and nobody likes to see it. The gaming industry is tough because you want to hold on to the best talent that you have for as long as you can, because it's very difficult to find them again. But in this particular case, it looks like this thing's going to be shuttered. There's no reason for Warner's to hold on to it without having the main driving talent running it. Like, who's running
it? The studio is literally just losing money every day because they have to keep those servers up for Suicide Squad, which nobody's playing. I think the grand total yesterday was like 200 people. So that was just on Steam. Across all platforms, probably maybe 1,000 people. I'm being generous.
Yeah, games as a service is fine as long as there's lots of people playing.
But there's nobody playing this.
No one's playing it. So.
And they still have to put out the stuff that they've already got in the works for that season 1, which will be the last. There will be no season 2 for this game.
Oh, and they got all these DLCs, I'm sure, that were planned.
Well, what is coming
to
already?
Keep it going for years.
With the trans Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
It's ma'am.
It's very progressive of them, I have to say. I'm sure that's going to turn everything around for them.
I wish this would just end. Please stop, dear Lord. Makes no sense.
Gay Joker, Mrs. Freeze.
Ms. Freeze. They, them Freeze.
Oh, yeah, it'd be Mix Freeze.
My pronouns are frigid.
Yeah. and what's funny, it's they are placating an audience that both does not buy their game and doesn't have the money to buy their game.
Well, not in their minds. In their minds, and we know this because Xbox, they came out and admitted they are reaching 3 billion current non-gamers who are being kept out for a variety of reasons, one of them being that it just doesn't feel safe and inclusive enough. So the moment that they feel safe and included, 3 more billion gamers are going to come flooding into them right away. They have to make sure the games are for everyone.
There's 8 billion people on the planet. Look how many people they've disenfranchised from playing the game and the potential audience and market for it. 8 billion people.
Yeah, I know that, and you know that. But in their heads, they take for granted the 5 billion they already have, and they figure, hey, those 5 billion, they're going to stay no matter what. Now we're going to sacrifice those to reach the next 3, because this is like the thing. This is the frustrating, and this is the whole thing with DEI when they just want to be. They want more people to be seen, and they just don't understand that inclusion is exclusion. Every single time you do something to include someone, you exclude someone else. And it's just unbelievable that they seemingly haven't figured that out. If you try to decide, okay, look here, we have a minority that's like less than 1% of the planet's population. So we're going to completely alter the game to reach this less than 1%. And we're just going to assume that we'll be getting that less than 1%. And our entire base is going to be completely fine with us radically shifting everything to reach those people because they're dumb sheep. This is the problem. They don't understand how many they're offloading to reach a number that is well within diminishing returns anyway.
And Ms. Stenberg, although she wasn't referring to Acolyte, was very happy to eliminate white males from the stuff that she's doing.
Yeah. And statistically, I understand that, because if you look
White
at
straight
the planet as a whole, is less than 10% of the planet's population is white. Less than 10% of everyone.
Then
they figure that, hey, if we just get rid of all of those people and we make it safe for all of the other 90%, they will come flocking. Of course, what they don't understand is that the people that, one, has the resources to play these games, and two, and this is a really big one, has the culture and interest in doing it and spending money on this, they are within that 10% of the population of the world they clearly don't value.
Damn. That's such a shame.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I'm sorry that Miss Stenberg, who I find to be very cute, which I don't know if I'm allowed to say that to a lesbian.
No, I do believe that this is a hate crime.
Sorry, I apologize ahead of time on behalf of Midnight's Edge. I do not represent the views of Midnight's Edge.
How dare you?
Yes, no, you are the only one here that finds her attractive, I'm sure. So
I
yes,
think she's cute.
That, so.
I think she's cute. But yes, she doesn't like white men. I can't help that. White straight men.
Yeah, no, she likes green women because she made her wife one.
That's right. That she wants to hang out with green women who have been with no hair or little spots, whatever those little spots she has on her head. What's the name of the character in Acolyte? What's her name? Grand something.
I don't know. I mean, apparently this is something we're supposed to be excited about because she was in those High Republic novels that no one read.
Yeah, nobody gave a shit about High Republic.
Yeah.
I was in
the only
Ollie's the other day, and they already had a whole bunch of them there.
I mean, they couldn't even bring in the characters that we had fun with and laughed at, like Leox Gayasi or whatever he was called, and that fat Jedi. Well, we did have a fat Jedi, but that was a different one. So yeah,
we do have a fat Jedi in the.
Yeah, but it's a different one.
In this, oh, I see. Okay.
Different one. Tom, do you still have those images of the Jedis from the High Republic, the ones with the paintovers? You have them lying around
on this
somewhere?
PC. No, not like.
No, this is my problem. I have them, but they're not on this PC.
Yeah, I was gonna say unfortunately.
Well, all I can say is, I mean, I got to go, but I'm going to wait for the Jodie Turner Smith episode. That is the one that I'm really. What was the thing that she said? Yes. What was her catchphrase? Yes.
That she was a queen or something, and yes, no, because
when she was
too many men in Star Wars.
She was being asked during Disney 23 or whatever the expo was, and she went, yes. I thought that was pretty funny. Anyways, I got to go, gents.
All right.
Enjoy your weekend. There's no chats for me.
I don't see any here. No, I think you're clear.
Well, then I will let you all head off. Enjoy the weekend, and hopefully see you on Monday. And I'll talk to you later. And thank you for having me on all this time. In yellow, always nice to see you, Tom, Andre. Have a good one.
Excellent. Have a great weekend. See you around. Take care.
So yeah, Suicide Squad, Sweet Baby Inc. Good stuff.
Fantastic. Also on that note, we have a super chat for you, Yellow Flash. Chaos Sonic 1 says for $5. Yellow Flash. I heard a rumor that the Miss Freeze is the alternate universe daughter of Victor and Nora.
Okay. I mean,
It's
either
Mix.
way,
Please. Get it right.
either way, I mean, who cares who she
Nora? I
is?
just have to begin
She's
with
gonna
that.
be shit. They
Victor
don't
is
have a
Victor
daughter.
Victor Freeze. Yeah.
How could
Oh,
they
okay.
even have one? Well, I guess because she, in some universes, she's turned into a freeze. So I don't know. I mean, who cares? To be honest, I'm not trying to be rude, Chaos, but I mean,
We
it
already got one.
could be anything that they put out is going to be shit.
And this is another reason why I don't like.
It's going to
these
be
kind of
Victoria Freeze. That's what I was
Yeah.
hearing.
Probably.
I think it's just a gender swapped Mr. Freeze from an alternate universe. That's what it is.
Mm.
It's just Vic. That's why it's Victoria. It's not Nora. Nora's supposed to be hot, by the way. You take a look at that character. I mean, it looks like
How much you want to bet that
pimple on
she's
an ass.
LGBTQIAP plus?
Oh, for sure. It's going to be bad.
Yeah, I would imagine so. And Too Tired also says they know inclusion means exclusion. It's why the Acolyte star literally said the entire point of the show is to make white people cry. They don't care. Now, to be fair, though, she didn't say that about the Acolyte. That's a clip that has resurfaced now, but it's actually from several years ago when she was promoting the movie The Hate You Give, which I haven't seen, but which, from what I understand, is another anti-white movie. But yeah, so that clip is not actually from the Acolyte, but doesn't look good now in conjunction with the release of the Acolyte. That's for certain. And Resistive Woke says, "Love you guys, never change, mates." Oh well, thank you. We will certainly try not to change what you like. And
All right,
Mr.
but
Tickle Truck sent us a Rumble Rants reminder for $2 Canadian. Tom, can you check?
I won't change, but I'll tell you what, it's going to start stinking before long.
Oh yeah, well, you're in separate locations.
Yes,
and while
it is
you
true.
check the Rumble Rants, Cheesy Citarian says for $5, the future of theaters is going to be like bowling lanes, bars with extra rooms. We'll see what happens if Hollywood is able to produce something people want to see. That might help. And Kelechi Oki, or Okedi, as it's the name on Rumble, says for $2. You guys also hear about WB Games' new Women and Non-Binary Leadership program. Bounding into Comics has an article on it already. See if you can find the group photo of the team. Yes, I saw this. I'll see if Tom, can you see if you can find that story and bring it up in the background here? And Yellow Flash, I'm sure that this is the kind of story that you must have noticed as well.
Yeah, I saw something about this. I didn't read too much of it because it's just Warner Brothers has been running down this hole for a while.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they
shocked by this.
That they respond so strongly to the failure of the Suicide Squad and Rocksteady as they seem to be doing here. Because other parts of the company, they still go all in on this crap. We'll see for how long, though, but they certainly do for the moment.
Leadership. Do we know what the headline is?
No, we do not know exactly.
Yeah, because
it's probably just a mentorship program. That's what this is. I mean, it's not. It's just more bullshit.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it here, but I'm not. Unless I'm missing it.
Yeah. Well, Tom is looking for that. Yellow Flash, any other game-related news or anything else that has stood out to you this week that was?
Just the Suicide Squad stuff, that's it.
Is there anything other to that beyond the the new Mrs. Freeze. And Tom, I found it right away.
Well, we
I'm
already
putting
kind
a
of
link in
talked
the
about
private
it.
chat.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I can't find it for some reason.
I have to say, I'm surprised that they even carry on with these DLCs. I mean, they must have spent a lot of money on them already, if they're even releasing them at this point.
Yeah, I think some of them are already done. That's why they're getting released.
Yeah, otherwise, like, there's literally no point in spending any more money on this. But of course, if the money already has been spent, then that's a slightly different story. So yeah, here we have the story that Kelechi Oki was talking about. See if you can find a team picture there somewhere. Maybe the
I'm not
article has
seeing
been
one.
changed.
I say they might have changed it because I'm not seeing one. Unless it's a different article.
But yeah, I remember this story, and I think this is the one. Warner Brothers Games launches new women and non-binary leadership program specifically in order to upend the gaming industry's male-dominated characterization. Yeah, that's gonna be a massive hit here. So looks like the likes of Sweet Baby Inc. are going to be busy for some time to come here with more upcoming projects to utterly ruin. So that should be fun and good times. And Hypergiver 2, he read my mind because he says, I bet Andre is disappointed that he's not in Cross Plains, Texas for Howard Days this weekend. Yes, I am. I'm very disappointed. I still have not been to Cross Plains, Texas, and I have never been to Howard Days. Obviously, I've never been to Howard Days, or I would have been in Cross Plains, Texas. But here's to hoping for next year. I have to try to do some great Conan videos, so maybe we qualify for a Howard Days award next year. That would be pretty sweet. But yeah, no, I would love to go to. Well, I'd love to go to Texas anyway, but certainly to Cross Plains, which is where Conan author Robert E. Howard is from. Yellow Flash, I don't suppose you've ever been to Cross Plains, Texas.
I have not. I've been to Houston, San Antonio, Austin. I drove through Dallas. I didn't stop there.
Yeah. I'd love to stop at all of those places, see as much as possible on Texas on a brief trip. But I've never been to the state of Texas before, so that is something that I have to amend next time I go to America. I'd love to actually go to visit all the states at some point, but have to be a little bit selective. And yeah, Joey says Andre visa approved. Actually, I do have the visa in order, so that's not an issue. Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
I lived in Houston actually for like half a year.
Oh,
almost
awesome.
a year.
Yeah.
Over in the Woodlands area.
Cool. Very cool. And we have a few more Rumble rants. Mr. Tickle Trunk says for $2, a Ken movie would actually sell. Doing a Furiosa the other way around would probably be financially successful. Depending on how they do it, yeah, it could be.
The difference is, though, is I don't think you'd necessarily pull in a new male audience. I think the female audience would still be interested in a Ken story. That's the difference, right? Again, it's one of those things that I think women, as long as you have Ryan Gosling involved, and they loved that character. A lot of people enjoyed his take on the character. I think it could be a win, but I don't think it could do nearly as good as the first film.
No,
far.
I agree. Of
and
course,
I also didn't think that direction.
I also didn't think the first one could do as good as the first one did.
Oh, I
so
did.
You never really know. But here's the thing, though. That's a movie that I would see only because I have to see it. But if I didn't run a YouTube channel covering this, I would never have gone to see a Ken movie.
Oh, same here.
Just because I can just say that the kind of changes that they would have to make in order to make a female property like Barbie appeal to me, the changes they would have to make to that would be so extreme that they would lose 100% of their built-in audience. I mean, I'd watch a Ken spin-off movie if it starred Jason Statham and it was a Jason Statham vehicle with him shooting up RV World. Yeah, I'd watch that for the shits and giggles of it. But beyond that, there's no universe where I would see a Ken spin-off movie were I not running a YouTube channel. And I think that's true for a great many people. So they're going to have to make some pretty hefty changes, because if they don't, it's still a chick flick. And if the statistics show something, that is, things which are made for women, or entertainment products made for women, their audience is women. The ones which are made for men, if they're done right, they appeal to absolutely everyone. Slightly more men, but they inherently appeal to everyone. I mean, even He-Man, something as boy-dominated as the He-Man of the 80s, it still had 30% viewership of girls. That kind of screwed it, because that's when they decided that, hey, let's do She-Ra and increase that viewership even more and keep all the boys and get even more girls. And then they killed the entire brand. Long story, but that's the gist of what happened there. So could it be financially successful? Yes, but I certainly wouldn't spend a bet bank on it.
Oops, go ahead.
Then Kelechi Okedi said another $5, saying, "You guys also hear that Warner's is considering doing a director's cut of Hogwarts Legacy, and guess what studio WB's appointing to the task? Rocksteady. Think they're trying to mitigate the subsidiary losses?" That's interesting. I haven't heard anything of this, and I do not know enough of the internal workings of their game department to have a fully informed take on this. Assuming that this is accurate, what say you, Yellow Flash?
I think he may have stepped away.
Yeah, he's not saying a lot.
Yeah, he stepped away. No, this is the first I've heard about it too, but if the rumors that we're hearing about them getting rid of them, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I wish I had a better take on games.
Yeah, I don't think that they would do that just to avoid a subsidiary loss. They would do that because they believe someone in the team there has the resources to do it, or has the right talent to get that job done. They wouldn't do that because, wow, this division here, it totally freaking sucks, and we have to get these numbers up. That's not how such decisions usually are made. So there would be another reason for that. Then let's see, do we have anything else or no? I think that we are mostly done. We have another super chat here for Yellow Flash. Yeah, and Yellow Flash is back again. So are you are back, right?
Yep, I'm here.
Yep, perfect.
A lot of coffee this morning, so.
Chaos Onyx, that's for $5. Yellow Flash, I agree with you. It will be shit. I only pointed out because I heard a rumor of it along with Deathstroke, and Katana will be in the game.
Yeah, I heard about Deathstroke, but I think the plan for that was like a season 2 bridge, so I don't think he's going to actually be in it. That's what I read a while ago, though, so maybe that's changed. Katana, yeah, I heard that too. I think she's in the schedule of release. Funny they're giving us her, but not Deathstroke. I mean, these people they're so fucking clueless. They're putting who they want in the game, not what fans want. Fans would want Deathstroke, not Katana.
Well, these are the same people that need to do self-inserts and everything. So, if anything, I have to say I'm impressed that they even put these characters in the game rather than just themselves.
I take Katana over Fake Freeze, whatever the hell that shit is, though.
Yeah, this is a very good point. Very good point.
And then we're caught up.
Yeah, we are caught up. We can maybe do one final happy news story for today. I'm putting it in the final chat. Let's end today on a happy note. I mean, Star Wars is of course dead, and the only thing that we can do is have fun with its demise. But there is one property out there that has not been ruined. On the contrary, I think it's actually been improved.
I think you just sent
So
the same link as
yeah,
last
I
time.
see that now as well. They did some changes.
I was like, this is not good news. What the hell are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a previous story. I mean, this one. These are good news.
All right, here we go. Oh, yes, this is good news.
I told you.
So, like, there was some confusion around this, and I'm not even totally sure if we have all the ins and out of what's going on here, but Comedy Central dropped a weird trailer. What was it? Last Tuesday or Thursday or Wednesday? Or something?
It would have been. I think it was Tuesday that you sent.
Yeah, because I posted it and I sent it to you, and I'm like, I think this means we're getting another season. I'm like, I don't recognize all these scenes, but do you? And you recognized them all.
Yeah, I recognize all. I've seen all of this before.
I've had some personal mental health issues lately that, like, a lot of things have been cloudy in the last while, whatever. But so I was like, okay, so whatever. So I took down the trailer, and then because I thought, okay, they're just dumping them on Comedy Central, because that was part of the initial deal when they were doing these. The deal was the show was supposed to premiere
because we still haven't told what we're
we haven't even
about.
told everybody what we're talking about. Beavis and Butthead coming back for a third season. Sorry about that. But like, yeah, because the original plan was they go on Paramount Plus, then they go on Comedy Central, and I think Paramount Network or something like that.
Why is Mr. Burger in the trailer?
That's what I was thinking. No, it's the episode where they're dressed as the burger guy. It's kind of funny, actually.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember the season. Yeah. Like, I'm all for this. So I didn't even know they announced season 2. So
season 2 has been out for a while.
Yeah.
What?
And so what they're doing is they're finally putting season 2 on Comedy Central, but there's some confusion as to what's going on with season 3. They're making.
Isn't that just the same after the movie? They released all those episodes.
No, well, they actually have gone through 2 seasons already.
Yeah.
Where they broke up the season then? Okay.
No, it was just full. No, it was 2 actual seasons.
Yeah, 2 full seasons.
Because it was originally picked up for 2 seasons. So what they're saying now is it's getting renewed again.
Okay.
But my confusion comes in is whether or not they're dropping it on Comedy Central first, or what the deal is with Paramount Plus, because they're not really specific about that. So I don't know if they're going to drop them week by week this time, if that's the deal or what. That's where my confusion comes in. So yes, I'm happy we're getting a Beavis and Butthead season 3. I'm just confused on how we're getting it. So yeah.
Well, either way,
as for when, that would be the summer of next year.
I liked the season 1 and 2 they did then, or whatever they called it. I didn't like that movie that much. I think Beavis and Butthead works better short form.
Really? I loved the movie. You didn't like the movie?
It's okay. I didn't laugh that much. I laughed a lot during the season. Especially that one episode where they were stuck on the roof.
Well, I mean, the movie, yeah, it wasn't as good as Do America, but like there were some bits in that I thought, like, especially like the white privilege bit and some other stuff that were.
Yeah, that scene made me laugh. But overall, I think Beavis and Butthead works better as 5 or 10 minute segments.
Yeah. I do agree with that in principle, but I think the movies are pretty fantastic as well. I still feel that we are missing one movie. We are missing one that they still
Beavis and Butthead Do the World. Yeah,
exactly. We are absolutely missing that one. But still, I think the 2 seasons so far have been fantastic. And yeah, I do believe that there's a whole season of 24 episodes that you may have missed out on, Yellow Flash. And this image right here is from a season 2 episode or a season 9
I saw this
episode.
One. You saw this one. This is the one because the girls were coming up to him and like he was because with their girls.
Yeah, there was 12 episodes actually, but 2 episodes per episode.
Yes,
like, it's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
The ones I really like are when they're like middle aged and living in the welfare home, that Section 8 apartment, like the one where they're getting excited because their place was wrecked.
Well, and that's
some good stuff.
Yeah, they're just like they used to be. I think Mike Judge does a brilliant way of kind of having the 2 contrasting versions of them because of the multiverse Beavis and Butthead stuff that was set up in the movie.
See, this is how you do the multiverse right.
Do that. Yeah. I liked the middle age. I liked that they had, okay, well, this is the Beavis and Butthead that kept growing from the 90s, and then we have the de-aged ones. I think that works. I was I was surprised it was as good as it was. Because, in today's day and age with comedy, what are they going to do? But yeah, the season
Yeah.
I liked a lot. The movie, not as much, but the season was great.
Well, I'm kind of worried more for King of the Hill because I remember breaking the news about these two shows back then that they were working on revivals of them. But the more we're learning about King of the Hill revival is like, yeah, Mike Judge is there, but he has less control or less to do with the creative side of things than he does with
Of
Beavis
course,
and Butthead.
that's tradition because he had nothing to do with the original run of King of the Hill either. He was only there in the first half of the run. Second half, he only did the voice, but he had nothing. To do
Okay,
with
so he did it
producing,
basically.
writing.
I didn't know that. So he basically pulled a Seth MacFarlane. Then is what you're saying.
Yes,
Okay.
he did. So basically, he left that. Like you can kind of like tell where quality kind of like dips a little bit, like 3-4 seasons in. That's
Which is
he
where I
leaves.
kind of dipped out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where he leaves.
See, because like all the shows I usually end up remembering are from the first few seasons, and I kind of dipped out somewhere about third
Yeah,
or
and
fourth
those were
season. Yeah.
written and produced by him. But since then he left it to others, and he just did the voice.
Yeah, but no, Beavis and Butthead, he's still pretty hands-on. In fact, he owns half of the property. Basically, they can't do anything without him. In other words, yeah, so I'm glad he's gonna come back with more. And
I'm actually surprised that they only do season 3. I would imagine that maybe could we hope that unbeknownst to us, it's been renewed for 2 more seasons? Because why, like last time, go back and get all the animators working again for just 1 more season when you can do 2 more seasons for pretty much the same price?
well, maybe this brings me back to my question about how this is going to premiere, because if they're doing it like a regular show on Comedy Central, maybe we're going to get more episodes than we realize, because I don't even think they say an episode number in here, do they?
No, they didn't, and that's that very well could be that they say right now that it's 1 season, and maybe it's like 1 production cycle, but it'll be released as 2 separate seasons. I mean, that's kind of like what
Or
happened with
I was
season
wondering if it
1
might
and
even be a
season
full
2.
20 some episodes like they used to do. That's the other thing, because if it's being produced through comedy, that's what I was wondering. What's the difference here? Why are they making, like, what is the change? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out, and I can't get that answer. And I'm wondering if there's different money coming in since it's going to be on Comedy Central. Like, maybe that's what I'm wondering, if it's going to be treated now like a network show instead of a streaming show. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But no, if you guys have not checked it out yet, it's one of the reasons to get Paramount Plus.
Yeah, it's
but
good.
otherwise the show has been, they showed the first season on Comedy Central, and I believe it's the Paramount Network because they dropped them, and then they're dropping the second season now on Comedy Central this summer.
Yeah, indeed. So put in other words, they used to be a reason to get Paramount Plus. Now is a reason to, if you can see it on Comedy Central, watch it there.
But yeah, I mean, it's fun if you haven't checked it out yet. You do have to. I do suggest seeing the movie, though. I don't think you can see the movie anywhere but Paramount Plus, because you kind of have to see the movie to get the setup for the show. Even though we kind of explained it, but it does help. Yeah. It does help.
I think you could just jump in. I mean, set up,
not
watching Beavis and Butthead for a deep plot, Yeah.
No, but I still loved that movie.
No, it's fine. I didn't hate it. I just think.
But to me, I think you're kind of be
funnier.
lost. I think you'll be lost on the idea of the multiverse thing, or at least how it kind of works if you didn't see the movie. But I get your point to where you don't really have to have seen it, I guess. But yeah. Either way, good news. Glad to hear it. Good. We're getting more Beavis and Butthead. In fact, the funny thing is back in the day, I know they were most people's favorite parts. My least favorite part of the show was always when they do the videos, because for me, they were always hit and miss. Sometimes they're hilarious. Sometimes they were just boring, and they felt like they were filler.
I thought
they kind of were.
I thought Paramount was going to put the entire show on there with the music.
They're supposed to be.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're still working on it or what the deal is, but yeah.
That would have been a reason to go back and rewatch a lot of that, because a lot of those music videos, I thought some of them were the best part of the show.
Well,
in
the music
videos,
videos,
yeah, and many of those videos you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was saying. I disagree. I felt like the videos where the show got bogged down.
Well, it was music television, Tom. That's why
it was. But here's my point. What I was getting to is now with the newer show, to me, some of their
Yeah,
YouTube
when they
video
react to
breaks
YouTube videos. Yeah, I like that too.
are even better than what they used to do with the music videos.
They did that when they tried to revive it
Yes,
years
yeah.
ago too, and I
With
like
the other
because they would
MTV
react
shows,
to
yeah.
Jersey Shore.
Yeah, and Addicted.
And they would call Snooki a whore. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
And so they all had herpes and stuff. Like
Some of that was funny, but it's like it was all MTV stuff then. This I like because it's actual like YouTubers. And it's funny when you hear the stories of the people who have been like I guess they just send them an email and ask if they can use their video and they pay them. And then they don't see anything for a while because they like the one person said it was like, almost a year before they saw the video. and his wife saw it first and like it was just thought it was hilarious, like the one guy, and then like there's the ASMR chick. That was probably the best one.
Oh,
the
ASMR. Yeah, I liked that whole season. It was pretty good. There wasn't a lot of miss when it came to the actual show. I liked that whole season. I thought it was funny. Like, I mean, really nailed it. One of my favorites was the dumpster episode.
Yes. See, that was going to say that even the worst of the shows of the season are still pretty damn good, even better than some of the good ones back in the day. Because like that was the thing when they were doing them for MTV, they were just producing them like crazy. To where now you can tell Mike has had some time to kind of really think these things through and probably work with a writing team with them on them a lot. They have a lot more time and freedom as well, because they did take it a little bit farther than they did back in the day, but not over the top. There's a couple episodes there. I was like, holy shit, I can't believe they did go that far. But like, yeah, no, it's a great show. I'm glad to have more. So yeah, I didn't even hate the other revival.
No, I like the other revival. I was sad they got shut down.
Yeah,
I remember that episode where they get stuck in the elevator.
Yeah. Well, my favorite one is when they go on the field trip and they think that the drone is actually a GTA game.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
We want to kill some hookers. Yeah, that was a good one too.
His age has made it Mike Judge better with those characters. Like, I think. The new stuff has been. I think almost that new season is funnier than a lot of the shit from the old show.
Oh, I agree. Like, I mean, because the show hit its stride probably Andre, season 3 or 4, I would say. Somewhere in there.
Well, it depends on what you appreciate, but yeah, around season 3.
As far as like what we know as modern Beavis, because the first few seasons, Beavis and Butthead are very much caricatures of what they became more so. It's kind of like the weird reversal of what you normally get out of these kind of shows. But like the longer we get to know them, the more Mike imbued them with actual personalities as opposed to what they were at first. Because they were just kind of like just literally brainless teenagers at first. But then once you started getting the dynamic of, okay, Butthead's the dominant one, but Beavis is secretly the smarter one, right? Like that's kind of how it works. And it's like once they figured that formula out, then it just kind of started kicking in all cylinders. And and plus having Beavis be like this secret psycho at the same time, like also
Subhuman says I'm a flash of Stewart. Actually, Subhuman, you mentioned that my favorite episode is the one where they break into Stewart's house and the movers come.
Oh God!
My favorite episode. One.
Do you remember that?
The band ones where they go to Mexico.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Oh God, yes, down Mexico way, yes. Well, see, that was one of the things I was going to bring up earlier about the remastering. I know, first of all, we've got 200 some episodes they got to remaster, Andre, something like that.
It'll never happen.
Well, I think it's happening, but
you have some fan restorations.
No, I think they are actually doing it. It's just my point is it's going to take forever. The other problem we have though is, and this is where you're probably getting to, is the first season episodes that have been deleted and edited. According to Mike, they'll never be in the original form again.
No,
because they actually went back to the negative and fucked with them, from what I heard.
Yeah. So
that's unfortunate. That's happened. That's happened with a lot more stuff than you know. Like that's part of the reason for Dragon Ball fans why the footage for that show is shit. Because
the other reason
they
I
take
think
care of it and they put the audio on the film. That's a big problem with older anime in general.
And I think the other problem is they just got to get all the clearances for the music. It's easier now than it used to be. So like this is and I'll try and keep this as close. It used to be such a big difference because you had like 20 different music companies, right? So you had to go through all these kind of different hoops. And if it was certain things they didn't get certain licenses and things for, back in the day, they just had a ton of problems trying to get them now. That's why shows like WKRP and Wonder Years and stuff that were very music heavy had a lot of issues when it came to getting them on DVD. But now we literally have 3 companies that own like all the music. So that has cleared things up a lot. And that's why in the last few years we've gotten releases of things like the Wonder Years and WKRP with the original music. And some other shows have been re-brought out again, like you can get imported versions of 21 Jump Street with the original music, and unlike the US versions that are out there now. So like it's starting to clear up a little bit. So I think that's part of the reason why it's taking so long. I'm sure they will. Paramount has actually been doing a lot of stuff with remastering their classics, I've been hearing, as far as shows and movies. So, and especially if there's something that's on film and all they got to do is scan it, which Beavis and Butthead would have been finished on film. The problem then also is the inserts. Okay, so all the stuff they did with the music video stuff, all that would have been done in standard def on video. And all those animations are just loops. So what's going to happen though, probably, is what they'll have to do is the shows will be in HD, but when they jump over to the music videos, that stuff will either have to be up converted or it'll just go down to standard def for those scenes. So we're going to have to deal with that issue. And that's probably another thing that they're probably dealing with right now. So keep that in mind as well. But again, we also know that we'll probably never get the unaltered versions again. That's another thing to keep in mind. So I don't know if there was anything more than that you were going to bring up, Andre, but yeah.
I think we have covered everything there is to cover about it for the time being.
I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. And then we got a couple super chats and milestones in the meantime. Montero has been a member for 23 months. Thank you for that. And Jason Webster sends in $5 Australian dues and says Star Wars is so dead that if it were a person's ghost, it would be haunting Disney World. Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully just Kathleen Kennedy's closet. Ruby Hoove has gifted a membership. Thank you for that, Ruby Hoove. And Thomas Dean sends in $4.99 and says, can you tell us something about your friend? He's stuck in a pipe.
I remember that episode.
Yeah. He's stuck in a pipe. Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for more Beavis and Butthead. Yeah, I wouldn't hope for 4K.
That was also a fantastic episode, the one where Beavis is stuck in a pipe. That was brilliant.
Blu-ray's fine for that show.
Yeah, I know. We're fortunate enough to get it in HD, if anything. So yeah. And yeah, I guess this is true.
Blu-ray for Do America not that long ago.
Yeah, I have a feeling that'll be coming in 4K before long. I'm surprised that didn't get a 4K before South Park did, which we're getting here in next month or the month after, something like that.
So, I have that pre-ordered.
Bigger, longer, and uncut.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in a long time. I'm looking forward to getting that.
Oh, 4K. I love it.
Blame Canada.
I wonder how they're going to do the 4K if they're actually just going to, because it was a CG animated movie, really. I hope they go back to the original files and do it that way.
Shall see.
Because the Blu-ray they have is just a scan and it kind of looks like shit.
That was like one of my first Blu-rays. Oh no, not Blu-rays, DVDs.
Yeah, it was one of my first DVDs too, because I remember when that came out. That was right when DVD
Wasn't
first
it in
came
the
out.
cardboard snap?
No, but it was a very early DVD though. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I remember that was like the 5th or 6th DVD I bought.
I fucking hated those cardboard snaps.
Oh yeah, Warner Brothers. Those were mostly Warner titles.
No, they were only Warner titles. You know.
Well,
why?
there was some Image did them, but it was basically anybody who went through Warner for their.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it when shit isn't flush.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Yeah. This is why I hate that Back to the Future. I'm almost
about
to rebuy that.
They did that. Those particular colors. Or that particular cover.
Cheaper.
No. It wasn't really that much cheaper either. That was just an excuse. It was the designer was one of the Warner executives, so he got the premium for them.
Well, there you go. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we all got stuck with those horrible covers. that don't age or anything like that, because one asshole executive got the copyright for their design, and he got the payments every single time they were used. So
You know,
yeah,
you know what I
that's
did
awesome.
though? When I worked at one of the video stores I worked at, because what they would do is they just pop those bastards out and then we'd cut them up and put them in a plastic case. I made sure I started saving them, like the because they would just throw them away, the plastic part. I saved the plastic part because, as you all know, that's the first thing that breaks is the centerpiece, and then your disc is flying around all over the place. So I had a buttload of replacements for a while. I was like, at least I got a bunch of replacements to fix my broken ones, at least. So
I got to
yeah,
get that. I
those
got
are
to get
pain.
that new 4K Back to the Future box set.
Don't
I
remind
almost
me.
want to buy it. It's such a waste of money because I already have it,
know.
but I hate that box.
Me too.
I hate it.
If
Who fucking
Universal was
decided to do
smart,
that?
they should offer an exchange program so that people can turn in the old set for a new set, or even if it's not with the discs, right? Like, hell, I'd pay $10 just to get the empty cases, like you just said. Like,
Yeah, the ones that have the movie posters.
yeah. Well, for those who don't know, the old Back to the Future 4K set's in a stupid fucking book, and whenever
That
they put
sucks.
these things in books, they scratch the discs when you try. And Universal's notorious. Speaking of people who are
And it
notorious
sticks
for
out.
doing it,
It sticks out if you've got a shelf. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't
like
look good next to other things.
they did it with all their box sets, like Jurassic Park, the Universal Monster sets. They're all in these fucking books, and you got to
Hate it.
slide the discs out, and I hate them. Well, I hate it because they had the original Back to the Future trilogy was in some weird fucking design too, and I had went through hell to get a replacement disc for my original Blu-ray because I kept telling them, like, you scratched my disc because of this crappy thing you have here. And it took me forever to get a replacement just because, but like, because it scratched it and it wouldn't play. It was the only Blu-ray I had that was scratched and wouldn't play. So it's like, they wouldn't believe me, but I sent them about 100 pictures and I'm like, why would I want just one movie? Like, I got the whole fucking trilogy here. Like, it makes no sense why I'm just bugging you for one movie. Like, just send me the damn movie that works. But anyway, so finally we got the 4K edition. And what do? They stick it in a fucking book. In a book. But that's it. We're done, kids. Put a fork in it. Hopefully have a good weekend. Andre, we got some videos coming up, I think, this weekend. When are we going to do our member stream?
We'll do it in the next couple of days here. We'll get back with exact final confirmation. We just have to work out the exact timing ourselves here. But next couple of days.
All right. Yellow Flash, you're not going to be doing a Flashcast tomorrow night. It's actually going to be on Tug's channel, correct?
Yeah, it'll be on Umbrella Guy's channel. I am hopping on a jet today, so.
Leaving on a jet plane. Well, hopefully you have a good trip wherever you're going in the world. And with that, Andre, what else is there?
Not much other than to say, everyone, please check out Yellow Flash's channel. Check out Flashcast tomorrow, even if it is going to be on Tug's channel. Check out our good friend Paul Chato. Check out Culture Casino's channel, even if he's out hunting Bigfoot. And check back for videos over the course of the weekend. And with that, it is time for some koalas in the rain.
What?
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koalas in the rain.